folks, welcome back to another episode of the BoomBastiCAST. It's a glorious day and evening with you all today. We got a great guest with you, the great Adam Marcus. You might know him from Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday, Secret Santa, NerdGirls, you know what I mean? Um, wrote Texas Chainsaw, I think 2013. We didn't get into Texas Chainsaw in this episode, but it's only because we this episode's packed to the brim, almost maybe over 3 hours of interview, talking about all types of great, awesome, fucking super interesting. I just had a lot of fun with this interview, man. It was cool to kind of go back and forth with Adam and hear so much stuff that we did, the dynamics between him and other filmmakers in the mix, his opinion on films, you know what I mean, his films. This was a really fully rounded episode, interview, one of my favorites to do, you know what I mean. And I know my cohort over here, Alexander, it's one of his favorites to do too, you know what I mean. Do you want to say anything before we pop into the episode?
Not much, just that it was a great time. I mean, again, we've done long interviews before, but I think this is the longest have done in the
In
last
a little
few
bit. In a little bit. We're
years.
returning to long form, not to cut
Yeah.
off Alex. We're returning to long form with this episode. You know what I
But
mean?
I mean, it's good because I mean, when it comes to an interview, I mean, uh, a lot of times you'll have people that you'll be doing an interview and what they talk about and how they feel about certain things kind of mesh with yours, and you're just enjoying sitting back and listening to their stories, listening to
Right.
their outputs, their opinions. And that's how I was with this. I mean, I honestly didn't talk that much because I enjoyed listening to what he was saying.
For sure.
And again, it was a great experience. I hope we have him back on the show and do another 3 hours or so.
Yeah, dude, I'm down. Well,
Now,
Adam, if you're listening, thanks again for the stories and sharing your time with us. And for everybody else, welcome to the BoomBastiCast for the first time, the great Adam Marcus. Adam, welcome to the BoomBastiCast.
Good to be with you guys, man.
Man, it's
And it's
good.
nice to be with some guys from Massachusetts. That's pretty
Hell
freaking
yeah.
awesome.
okay.
It's wicked awesome, actually.
Wicked. It keeps it wicked over here.
It is,
Yeah.
man.
Wicked pisser. It's wicked pisser.
Yeah, been following you for a bit, you know what I mean? Good work, you know what I mean?
Thanks, brother.
Find inspiration in it, you know what I mean?
Thanks, man. Thank you.
We usually start at like the beginning
Hmm.
of the journey for folks.
Sure,
Now,
sure.
I know that you had, I'm not fully know of all the whole story, but I know that you were involved with the first Friday the 13th,
I
right?
was. Yeah, it was.
So
It
how'd
was.
that kind of,
Um, well, I was born in New York City, and I was raised between there, where my dad lived, and in Westport, Connecticut, where my mom lived. In fact, I did live in Brookline, Massachusetts, for a little bit. Oh yeah, fuck yeah. But I grew up in this little town, Westport, that was very much an arts community. Paul Newman lived up the street. I used to sing at Martha Stewart's house for Christmas. I would sing for her guests. Um, uh, it was just an amazing arts town, right? It's about 40 miles outside of Manhattan, and and there was this kid that I became friends with, this kid named Noel Cunningham, and supposedly there were all these rumors about how Noel's dad made a porno,
yeah,
which is true. Noel's dad did make a porno. In fact, he discovered Marilyn Chambers, who also went to my high school, along with Michael Douglas and Christopher Lloyd. And so, in fact, Shauna made a movie called Together. That was a porn movie. This is before Last House on the Left.
yeah.
And Noel played Marilyn Chambers' Love Baby. in the movie because they needed an infant, and there he was.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was so obsessed with film by the time I was 8 years old that the fact that his dad made any kind of movie, I didn't care if it was porn or not, that was super cool. Then I heard his dad made this insane horror movie that none of us were allowed to see. Well, that, like, immediately I was like, okay, then I will see this movie and I will see it as quickly as possible. In the midst of all of that, for people of my age, it's usually part of the story. I'm 9 years old. It's May 25th. It's a Saturday morning, and my father comes up from New York, from Manhattan, because the night before he had seen the opening of this film that he immediately had to take his sons to. So he took myself and my brother Kip to see the first morning screening on Saturday morning of Star Wars. And the moment the Tantive 4 flew overhead, followed by the Star Destroyer, my whole world changed. And I said out loud in the theater, I said, I want to do that. And my father, recognizing that he had a 9-year-old son, said, oh, you want to be an astronaut? I went, no, I want to make that. I can tell you from that second to right now, I have never spent 1 minute doing anything other than moving towards my dreams as far as being a filmmaker. That was it. That was the die was cast.
Yeah.
And look, my family, a lot of my family were in the arts. Everybody on my mom's side of the family, my mother and my grandmother were both, singers on Broadway. My brother Kip, of course, who's in Jason Goes to Hell and several of my other films. Kip, was a child star on the new Leave It to Beaver, and then he was on Broadway a couple times, and so he had a wonderful career. And then we made a movie called Let It Snow that was a big Sundance hit. And then my uncles, and you guys will dig this because this is sort of puts more horror behind everything. My uncle Joe was a writer, director, producer, and he made a little movie called Don't Go in the House.
Okay.
Yes, and that was one of the first Don't films,
Yeah.
and probably the most successful of them. So anyway, so Joe had made that, Joe Ellison, and my uncle Ned Eisenberg, he, if you guys like the movie The Burning, he's
Yes.
Eddie in The Burning. He's
Okay.
one of the leads of The Burning. Ned is one of those guys that if you watch any 3 episodes of Law and Order, you'll see him, usually as a scumbag lawyer defending horrible people. But he is a brilliant journeyman actor. He's worked with, Clint Eastwood and Oliver Stone and Woody Allen. And I mean, he's done everything. And in fact, was in one of my movies. So this was kind of the base of everything that happened. Well, Sean was off making a movie at a camp in New Jersey, and he needed kids, and so I went out on one day with Noel and everybody, and we were a bunch of campers, and we had to lie in cots and sit in circles singing Kumbaya songs.
Yeah.
And I just noticed that that he needed people to run sodas and stuff. That's really what I started doing, and he kind of liked having me around, and so he gave me $20 a day to hang out for the last few days of production. And $20 a day to an 11-year-old kid is like $1 million a day. So, all child labor laws be damned, I was working on my first movie. And so I worked with him on that. And then a few years later, by the way, during that time, Sean taught me how to write a screenplay, what screenplay format looked like. He taught me how to use a computer. There were no computers at that point. Like the desktop computer was a brand new thing. I learned on one of those computers that had those giant 5-inch floppy disks. It was, as archaic as it got, but I learned how to do all of this because Sean was a computer lunatic. He loves computers. He owned a computer company, in fact. And, so in the midst of all of this, they go to make a movie called Spring Break. Now, mind you, they were going to make a movie called Red Dawn.
Okay.
And in fact, I was at a table read for Red Dawn. Sean had me come in because he knew I was an actor. And I read the C. Thomas Howell part, and Sean wanted me to play that part in the movie. And then Sean got a script for Spring Break, which is literally, it's 90 minutes of wall-to-wall boobies. That's the whole movie.
I got the VHS, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I worked with his wife, Susan Cunningham, who was really like a mom to me. She was amazing human being. And she let me apprentice edit for her one summer on spring break. And so slowly I'm getting this film education through the Cunninghams, and I'm reading everything I can read on my own. I started making animated films at that point, claymation. Most of them were just like scenes from the movie Heavy Metal that I would make claymation characters for and act it out and have the soundtrack of Heavy Metal playing in the background and whatnot. But it was how I started making movies.
Yeah.
At the same time, I was working for a gentleman named Al Pia. Al ran 5 theaters in Connecticut, but he was responsible for the theater company in my high school, which was called Staples High in Westport, Connecticut. Now, here's the thing about again, it's an artist community, right? The whole high school was built around a pre-existing theater where the Doors had played, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, like they'd all played this theater. So it's a huge proscenium arch. It's a great house. And so they built this whole school around the theater. Well, the theater was so successful that we paid for all the sports teams. So that theater was bringing in over $100,000 a year in revenue. So it was this incredible place to work in the theater. So when I was 11, I came to this man, Al Pia, and I begged him to teach me. I wanted to know. And again, I'm 5 years before I get to high school, and I was like, I want to learn everything. And so he started from bottom up, and I read An Actor Prepares by Stanislavski, and I didn't understand a goddamn word of it. And he spent an entire summer teaching me. He would have me read a chapter at night. I'd come back in the morning, and he would go through every word with me until I understood it. Then he put me in the lighting crew. Then he put me on set crew, and it just kept building. And then suddenly he needed me in a couple of his theaters to play bit roles, right, in shows. So I started doing that. Then I was in play readings with people like Keir DeLay from 2001: A Space Odyssey, with Karen Black, with Frank Gorshin, the guy who played the Riddler on the old Batman series.
Iconic, yeah.
So I'm like, I'm working with professional actors, real people. And again, Neil Simon lived down the road. I mean, it was that kind of place. Yeah. By the way, if you ever watch the old I Love Lucy show, when they moved to Connecticut, when Ricky moves to Connecticut, they moved to Westport.
Okay.
Bewitched took place in Westport. The Stepford Wives is written about Westport. That's where Ira Levin was living when he wrote that book.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, my grandmother dated Ira Levin, so there's a lot of Rosemary's Baby connections.
I was going to say, the Rosemary's Baby author, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I went through high school. When I was 15, I created my first theater company. I ran 2 theater companies from the time I was 15 to 21. The money from that, because again, I was in a town where theater made money. It's the rarest of rare things.
It is.
I put myself through school at NYU, through film school. And my brother actually helped me because he had made so much money on Leave It to Beaver. He helped in my education. And I won Best Picture while I was at NYU. And for a romantic comedy, could not be less horror-like.
Yeah.
In fact, my romantic comedy was sort of like a John Hughes meets David Mamet movie. Like, it was like the dirtiness of a David Mamet play, but a John Hughes story.
Yeah.
And the leads of my movie. So if you ever watch Reno 911.
Yep.
Okay, Officer Dangle, Tom Lennon.
Yeah.
The guy with the short shorts. He was the lead of my movie.
Interesting.
And his best buddy in the movie was played by Joe Latruglio, who, if you watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine, he's Andy Samberg's partner.
Yeah.
So those 2 guys were the leads of my film. The girl in my movie was my girlfriend after I shot the film. I never dipped my pen in the company ink.
Good man.
We got together after the movie was made, but she was the co-writer and director of Can't Hardly Wait and Josie and the Pussycats. So I had this incredible cast around me, and my best friend, a guy named Eric Beetner, and he'll come up later in my story, but Eric Beetner was also one of the leads of this, and Eric he is a 10-time Emmy-nominated editor for The Amazing Race, and he cut every single episode of Fear Factor back in the day. So this was a real film forward group of people, really kind of amazing folks. The movie wins Best Picture. It also wins, for the very first time in NYU's history, the Ensemble Award. So every single actor in my movie gets an award for their work, which is crazy.
Yeah.
We won a Special Cinematography Award, blah, blah, blah. But my movie was so completely not NYU. I mean, NYU is sort of the epicenter of pretension. There's like no place more pretentious than NYU.
Yeah.
It is the best film school. I mean, it's the best film school on the planet. It's extraordinary.
It's the one to go to. Yeah.
Right. But it is so pretentious. And I made, a comedy. That's not what they're used to. I made like a romantic comedy about teenagers, and they were like, what the fuck is this? All the judges loved it. I won all these awards, but the dean of the school wouldn't even bring me to LA, wouldn't take the film to LA to screen it, which was shocking. I'm like, I won your festival. How are you not taking my film? So I got 2 job offers. One was from David Lynch and Mark Frost to be in the writer's room on season 2 of Twin Peaks. And the other offer was from my old boss, Sean Cunningham, who had moved from Westport, Connecticut, where he had been born and raised and then raised his kids. He'd moved to Los Angeles to make films. And he asked me if he had seen the film, he loved it, and he said, look, come to LA, be my bitch for a year, and I'll give you your shot. And I said, how quickly can I get to LA?
Yeah.
And so I got out here, and I have never looked back. I got out here in September of 1990, and I have lived the rest of my life in this beautiful, extraordinary place.
Yeah. So when you say bitch, like what type of work does he get you doing in the beginning?
Dude, I was his bitch. I mean, I was his bitch. Yeah. Look, I mean, walking his pugs, detailing his car, getting lunch, of course, every single day, getting dinner most days. I at one point had to construct a giant bow, no joke, like on a present, a giant bow.
Yeah.
Because he had bought his wife a new car and he wanted to give it to her as a present, and it had to have a giant bow on it. So
yeah.
It was this kind of stuff, organizing storage, dealing with files for movies. And we're talking like, Indiana Jones style archives of crap that I was, that I was sorting and doing. And I was also, PAing on any production that was working in the office. I was doing script readings. I was reading scripts and then writing coverage. I mean, anything he needed. But I spent a lot of time walking dogs and picking up poop. Like that was definitely. I
would have done the same deal. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. The problem is remember, I grew up in Connecticut and then New York, and I went to school in New York. I didn't have a driver's license. I got to Los Angeles. I had no driver's license, and I had paid off school. I had no debt, none. But I had $300 in my pocket. That's all I had left after I'd paid off NYU, and no driver's license. And I moved out to LA, bought a car for $300. By the way, a 63 VW Bug Canary Yellow, which if you know your film history, that's the exact make, model, and color of Kevin Bacon's car in Footloose. So now you have 2 ways of getting to your 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon through me. Friday 13th and the car from Footloose. And so I had to live in that car when I first got out here. I didn't have any money for an apartment. I tried to stay with Noel, my best friend, but his place was so roach infested that I was like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. Yeah. So I lived in a car that I couldn't drive. And I would move it place to place so I wouldn't get caught by the cops. I was showering at a local car wash, still there on Lincoln Boulevard. I mean, it was a crazy, ridiculous existence. And for people who think like I didn't pay my dues, because look, I get someone actually at one point called me a Nepo baby. I'm like, do you know what a Nepo baby is? I wasn't born into the Cunningham house. Yeah. I weaseled my way in there from the time I was 11 on. What are you kidding me? Right. But I started my professional career when I was 11 years old, and I worked my ass off and went to NYU, ran 2 theater companies, made films, made 21 films by the time I left New York. And I had been involved in over 75 theater productions by that point. And when I got to LA, I had to eat shit and live in a car, and in a VW Bug, no less. Right. So, none of this came easy. It's just I I was tenacious, and I was not gonna fail. There was no way I was gonna fail. It wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah. Even that
There you
nepo,
go.
even that nepo baby claim is kind of like hogwash too, because like if you don't have the talent,
A
you're
hundred
not going to
percent.
stay in that position.
100%, man.
Yeah.
100%. By the way, you know what I find crazy about that too? Like, ask anybody out there, like, who, oh, I'm a podiatrist. What'd your dad do? Oh, he was a podiatrist.
Right.
Are you a fucking nepo baby then,
Yeah.
or are you just in the family business? You know, I took over my dad's hardware store. Well, does that make you a nepo baby? No, man. It just makes you somebody who followed in your family tradition. My family were all in the arts. If I didn't go into the arts, they would have been like, "Who the fuck are you?" They wouldn't have recognized me.
Yeah, I think even those other jobs are more. They're talented people, but like yeah, realistically, their dad could set them up. You know,
100%.
in entertainment, you can't really do that because
Nope.
like
Your dad can sometimes get you a foot in the door.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that's it.
Yeah.
You know? But look, even when we even talk about, let's say, Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez, Emilio, talk about a badass. Like, he's like, I'm not taking the name Sheen. Fuck that. I gotta get there on my own legs.
Yes.
So there are a ton of people like that you have no idea are related to somebody in the industry, but they grew up in the industry, so they understand that's the business. They understand. And let me tell you something, man. Someone who takes over their father's plumbing business or their mom's electrical business, you're going to make more money than you make in the film industry.
For sure.
That I can guarantee you.
Yeah.
You have job security. That is not what you have in the film industry at all. So
you don't even hear too much of like on occasion, like Cronenberg's kid directed.
Sure.
Max Landis. There's like certain people that you do hear, but
right.
For
but
all
dude, Max Landis fizzled out so goddamn fast because Max Landis was John's not the nicest guy in the world, but he's insanely talented. Max was a naughty, naughty boy.
He was a dirtbag, dude.
Yeah.
He's got a podcast now I've seen recently.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, my goodness. So it's a bunch of people that are, like, weird. Like, they're trying. You can tell his co-hosts are trying to, like, eat off of the Landis name, but it's not working out for them type deal. But, yeah, I love John Landis. But,
he's one of my all-time favorite directors.
Never been known to be like you said. I met him at a horror convention. Yeah. He was pretty cool to me, but he's
nice. He's nice when you're just talking and when you want to tell him, I think you're a genius. Yes,
exactly.
He's very nice then.
People like, you know what I mean? Yeah, how are you gonna?
But a hard guy, but a tough guy to work for, and anybody who's worked for him said, nobody goes like, oh my god, he was so squeaky wonder. No one does that. That's not.
The story about Landis that always was weird to me was how he was when the Twilight Zone thing happened. He was kind of like more worried about his career than people dying. You know what I mean?
Look, and by the way, that whole thing, it's so funny. Directors, while he should have fallen on the sword to some degree,
right?
We hire experts to tell us no,
right?
And I can guarantee that he was telling the effects guys and the stunt guys, fuck you, put that helicopter down as far as I want, fuck you or I'll fire you. The answer from that expert should have been, fire me, motherfucker.
Exactly.
Then fire me.
Yeah.
But I'm not killing anybody. And that's what we hire experts for. So that whole accident, you go like, by the way, it's an accident. It was an avoidable accident, and that's where there's problems. That's where you get into, real issues. But people should learn to say no to people. I mean, look, man, come on. Quentin Tarantino, he put Uma Thurman behind the wheel of that car. Fuck him.
Yeah.
Fuck him. And by the way, he had people saying no to him. And he still put her behind the wheel of that car. So I go, all right, well, who's worse? Or are they the same? But nobody, paints Quentin with that brush, but they paint Landis with it. I'm like, well. By the way, the worst thing, I don't know if you guys ever read the book on that whole Twilight Zone accident.
Special effects. Yeah. I've read it. Yeah, it's a good book.
That bit about John Badham, who had just shot Blue Thunder the year before, and was like, look, the buck stops with the director. He says, I made an entire movie about helicopters. No one got hurt because I listened to my experts.
Yeah.
That's it. You know? So, again, he didn't think Landis should do time for it, but he didn't think Landis should own a house anymore.
Yeah. There's a part in the book with Vic Moreau that was kind of more than tragic when he was like he just came out of like a dry spell because he had like a drinking problem or something.
Yep.
He called up his agent and was like, "Yo, I'm not feeling this stunt, dude. Like, I don't think I should do it." And he goes, "You in a position to turn down roles?" And he was like, "No." And then he went out and died. Horrifying, dude.
You know that he's Jennifer Jason Leigh's dad, right?
Yeah, I was very shocked to hear that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's
but again, yeah, anybody call her a Nepo baby? I mean,
for sure.
Yeah. This is what I'm saying. This is where, so we've come full circle, as it were.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a wild deal.
Yeah.
Landis is, iconic, dude. Super.
Dude.
Yeah.
And by the way, exactly the kind of director I always wanted to be. And in fact, Sean Cunningham, at one point, when he was not being a horrible prick to me, Sean called me Landis-like. Like, he was like, "You're like John Landis." And I was like, dude, you couldn't say a nicer fucking word to me. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
My favorite directors growing up were people like Alan Parker and John Landis because, and John Carpenter for the same reason.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't let people put them in a box. You know, like Carpenter wanted to do horror. Like, that was his love. That's what he wanted to do. But the truth is, he started with Assault on Precinct 13, which, yes, you can kind of call a horror film, even though it's not. It's a thriller. Yeah. And it's Rio Bravo. I mean, John Landis was constantly remaking his favorite movie, which was Rio Bravo. He started with Dark Star, which is a sci-fi movie. He made Starman, which is a romantic sci-fi film, and then wrote things like The Eyes of Laura Mars for other directors. And so I love that about Landis, about Carpenter. With Landis, I mean, who goes from the Blues Brothers to American Werewolf in London to Trading Places? Like, I'm sorry, those are three completely different genres. Even though two are comedy, they're totally different kinds of comedies. And so I look at someone like Landis and look, Alan Parker, who is my all-time favorite director. There's nobody. Look, Steven Spielberg is the GOAT. No two ways about it. There's never been a better filmmaker than Spielberg. It's just, and anyone who wants to, come fight me. But Alan Parker and Brian De Palma are sort of the pillars I put my career on top of. And I got to tell you, Alan Parker is one of those people that most people don't even remember his name. They remember all his movies, but you talk about a guy who went from Bugsy Malone, a kids movie about children dressed as gangsters singing musical numbers and shooting each other with cream pies, to Midnight Express.
Yeah.
And then he did Fame.
Yeah.
And then Pink Floyd The Wall. And Shoot the Moon. And Mississippi Burning. And Angel Heart, and you go, what the fuck? This guy, there's nobody before or since that's like that man. And again, people don't even remember his name. And by the way, in every single movie I've made, there is a character named Parker somewhere in the group, and that is always my nod to Alan Parker.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I took this guy because Alex, like actor producer, I write and direct and produce. Right. I've always, both of those dudes, the fact that they can jump, because it's like, I love genre films, but like, I love films above all. Yeah. So to be, this to do a certain kind, it's kind of like, I appreciate the ones that do more, you know what I mean?
By the way, it's why horror fans and people who love horror, people who love the genre, why they are the best cinephiles.
Yeah.
Because we love all movies. The normies, they only like their lane. Yeah, they don't like, they're like, oh, horror movies that scare me. And it's like, for us, we're like, we love horror, but we want all of it. Like, give us a drama. Bring it. Like, we're happy to watch, you know? So I think that the people who have the tent for horror, and I'm not, look, I know there are guys out there that like, all they like is Terrifier. I'm not talking about those guys. I'm talking about and I'm not saying you can't like Terrifier, love Terrifier, that's fantastic. But when you have a tent that really covers all parts of horror, whether it's zombies to vampires to slashers to all of it. When you love all those kinds of films, you tend to like all film.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure.
That's why I love the genre. And it's why I always come back to the genre. But I never want to be dictated to by genre or by what the studios think a director should do or what lane you have to stay in. I think that's all bullshit. Just bullshit. You know, you need to, if you want to tell a story, tell a story. And it doesn't matter what the hell that story is. You got to tell that story.
Yeah.
And I think the best directors are the ones who can go outside of that. Spielberg as well. Spielberg, he's told every kind of movie you can. Yeah. And he's a great horror director. I mean, I'm sorry, Jaws is one of the greatest horror movies ever made.
For sure.
And, you know, because sharks don't fly onto boats and eat the crew. It doesn't happen.
Well, just the hysteria. I mean, when people try and say it's not a horror film or whatever, it's like, dude, it scared the world from going into the water. You know what I mean? Like, I remember going, like, diving into a pool and just being like, I hope I don't get eaten by Jaws. Like, for real. Like, just being underwater in general.
My buddy Bob Kurtzman will not go into a pool to this day.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Yeah.
And Bob's like one of the biggest badasses I know. He's a badass.
Effects
and he's like,
artist.
Fuck that, I ain't going in Jaws. I'm like, Jaws in a pool? What is wrong with you?
That's probably a horror movie by now, Jaws in a pool.
By the way, if you've never seen it, you should go back and look. Saturday Night Live in their first season, I believe it was their first season, did a Jaws spoof called Jowls, and it was a shark in a bathtub.
Yeah.
And it was fucking great. And they literally did it with Quint and the whole, you know, and Brody, and they're hooking John Belushi up to the back wall of the bathroom, like, you know, to keep him on the line. It's pretty goddamn great. It's pretty great.
When those shark moved, like, there was a couple of years ago, after like Sharknado, there was a huge fucking craze for.
Oh yeah.
There was one made, and I forget, maybe Ghost Shark, but I know. There's it ends with a dude going to drink a glass of water and the shark comes out of the water, dude.
Of course it does.
Like, it's ridiculous, but
Go Shark. That is fucking extraordinary. I was thinking, like, he's going to talk about, like, you know, Deep Blue Sea or something.
Yeah.
No. Go Shark.
Go Shark.
Absolutely.
That's where.
By the way,
Deep
Blue Sea is one of my wife and my favorite movies. We worked with Rennie for a little while.
Oh yeah.
That's not why it's our favorite, but we worked with Rennie for a little bit, and it one, you know, the scene in the movie with the Sam Jackson scene. Yeah. We did not warn our daughter about that scene. We had seen the movie, so we're sitting in our living room, and our daughter is watching it with us. And she has her feet on the coffee table. And that moment happens. Our daughter kicks a glass of water across the entire room. Yeah. One of those great moments as a parent where you're like, I'm so glad I didn't tell her because that was fucking hilarious.
Awesome. That's got to be one.
Scared the shit out of her. It was great. It's great.
That's, you don't see that coming. That's one of, like, the best jump scares of, like, all time.
You do not see that shit coming. And it's Sam Jackson. He's the biggest name in that movie. He's gone.
Exactly.
So good. So good. Totally Steven Seagal'd him from Executive Decision. Same kind of like, yeah, fuck yeah. Now, or Drew Barrymore in Scream. Like, now you don't know what the fuck's going to happen.
Yeah. Rennie Harlan jumped around too, which was cool, you know, like
did.
Die Hard.
He did.
2, was it? Or I think it was 2.
Die Hard 2. Die Hard 2.
Prison, you know, a lot of cool shit.
Nightmare.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Rennie did his time. He did.
Yeah.
Yep.
So when you're paying dues with Cunningham, which Cunningham, I believe, is not really like a horror dude. It just made money, so he did it.
He is not.
Yeah.
He kind of in a way despises the genre, and he at least my time with him was spent listening to a lot of shitty things about the genre and shitty things about the fans. And he pissed me off because I was a genre fan.
Yeah.
Sean likes money. That's what he likes. And by the way, everybody likes money. Like, I'm not a Pollyanna. It's great to make money, but again, you know, if you're in the film industry to make money, you made a really bad wrong turn in Albuquerque.
Yeah.
Like, you got to stop because it's not what it's about, man. It's like it's sort of like, I want to write novels because I'm going to be rich. Okay, stop. No, you're not. Stop.
Yeah.
You write because you have to write. You make films because you have to make films. I teach a lot of actors out here, and I have a theater and a studio where I do classes several nights a week. But this is how I've concentrated my troupe of actors that I work with to this day. I have 60 actors that I work with all the time. And when I work with these folks, what I tell them up front is I'm like, look, you're going to have a day job probably for the rest of your life. You're going to have some other thing that you do, and then you act occasionally when you get a job.
Right.
If you can see yourself enjoying anything else as much as you love acting, go do that. Don't do this. This is a heartbreak. This will break your heart every single day. But if you can't see yourself loving anything as much, if your life becomes less because you're not following this dream, then I'm sorry, you have the ring virus and you must stay in this for the rest of your life. It's just the way it's going to be. And yes, there will be pain associated with it, but there will also be incredible triumphs. There really are. And so that's the blessing and the curse of what we do. But you do it because you love the art form and that you have something to say. That's it.
Yeah.
I discourage people from going to film school at this point. I'm like, don't go. Like, stop. Don't spend the money. Because nobody cares anymore. No, really, nobody gives a shit.
For sure.
They don't look at your resume. God, I wonder if you could direct Ghost Shark 3. Oh, you went to USC, of course. Said no one ever.
Yeah.
It's all bull. Not one person in an interview has ever said, so where did you go to school, Adam? Oh, fuck off. They don't ask you that. The truth is that, look, if I was lucky enough when I was a kid to have a movie studio in my fucking pocket, like everyone has now, where you can write, shoot, edit, distribute from a fucking telephone. Yeah. If I had that, man, forget about it. Forget about it. I would have made 100 movies by the time I got to NYU. I wouldn't need NYU. Why would I be at NYU? Why?
Yeah.
You can learn everything now on your own. And I taught myself. So on my film Secret Santa, my editor, who's brilliant guy named Chris Kirkpatrick, amazing editor. He had some horrible things happen in his family early on in the edit, and he just couldn't continue with it. And so my producing partner at the time wanted to send the film to England. There was an editor on the latest Star Wars movie who wanted to cut the movie. He'd read the script and loved it and wanted to do it. And I said, but he's in England, dude. How are we going to how do we make that work? And he's like, well, I mean, he'll cut it and then he'll send it back here. I'm like, do you understand how a director works? Now, my producing partner at that time had made 40 movies, but he made it at this fucking sweatshop called Hollywood Media Bridge, where they made all the fucking Steven Seagal movies. I made a movie for these motherfuckers, for these bastards. My Val Kilmer movie, worst fucking experience I ever had in my life.
Really?
Conspiracy, exactly. Yeah. And so he did not. I said, Brian, other than me, how many directors sat in on edits when you were at Hollywood Media Bridge? He says, you're the only one. I said, right, because I'm the only fucking director you worked with. Directors edit their movies. You sit with the editor. You work on the cut. You don't just go shoot another movie or go make pizzas and wait for somebody else to just give you your movie. Fuck that. Then you're not a storyteller. Then you're not actually a director. You're doing half the job.
Yeah.
So I said, all right, look, I'm not sending the movie to England. I'm not doing that. I said, send me the movie. I started an editorial. That's what I started with. Send it to me. Now, by the way, at that point, I cut everything on a Steenbeck. I had not cut on Avid. I had editors who worked on Avid, so I would sit with editors on Avid. But I'd never cut on an Avid. I cut with actual film, with 35 millimeter film. And he sent me the drives, sent me everything. And I had an assistant editor named Pippi Ariskog, who's one of the leads of Secret Santa. And my wife, Deborah, who is my writing partner, producing partner, life partner, the best human being I've ever known. And the two of them sat next to me while I'm at the Avid. And literally, I had to order the software. I'm like, I don't even have the fucking software on the computer. So I built an Avid in a day and went, okay. And I'd cut on Final Cut before X, Final Cut 7, the only Final Cut there really is. And I sat there at the computer and I said, okay, how do I do this? And the two of them sat there with YouTube on their phones and would find me videos and play it for me. And I'd be like, okay, cool. And literally, I cut the movie in 6 weeks while learning how to cut the movie. So everything to do this job is out there.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. So the year that Blair Witch became a giant Sundance success, right? And by the way, Blair Witch is a terrific movie. I love how people love to bag on that movie now. I'm like, oh, shut up.
It was the original of all that stuff. You got to
Yes,
give
it was.
back to it. You know?
Yes, it was. And it's incredibly well made, and it's incredibly scary, and it's a really clever way to make a movie. Like, they did everything right. So when people bag on it, I'm like, oh, stop it. Like, just stop. Stop being that guy.
Right.
Be respectful of what came before you. But the year after Blair Witch happened, Sundance went from getting a couple thousand movies a year to getting 10,000 movies a year to look at. Because everybody went and made a Blair Witch movie. Because it was like, ooh, I can make this for nothing and really cheap and really shit.
Great,
blah, blah, blah. And I can get 4 of my friends who don't know how to act. And we'll go in the woods. Okay. Here's the thing that separates everybody. And it's the only thing that separates them. It's not film school. It's bullshit. It's not film school. It's talent. You either have talent or you don't have talent. So, you know, everybody can type. Very few people can write. Lots of people can type. Everybody can type. When you come out to Los Angeles, everybody and their brother is a screenwriter. I'm in the dentist chair, and the woman who was cleaning my teeth pitched me a movie that she had written. And I'm like, is this happening? I had brain surgery when I was 33 years old. I had a tumor in my brain. I had brain surgery. My brain surgeon pitched me a movie in a post-op.
Jesus.
Okay? And I looked at him and I said, is it a medical thriller? He says, yeah, how'd you know? I'm like, I don't know. I'm psychic. Look, and by the way, I think everybody has one great story in them. I think every person in the world has one great story. Like the one thing they've always wanted to tell, right?
Yeah.
But writing, in general, writing a book, right, is insanely hard. Like, that's not an easy thing to pull off. It's an amazing thing when someone accomplishes one. It's more remarkable when it's readable. And it is a fucking miracle when anybody else reads it. Screenwriting is, for me, in my opinion, the single hardest form of writing ever created. Because it is nothing but structure.
Yeah.
Nothing but structure. And it is this tight format. You have very few pages to tell all the story you want to tell. And every scene better bring new information. And every scene better be conflict driven. And every scene better be able to answer the question because of which what. Every fucking scene. That is hard. That is really hard. Not to mention you have to create characters that are empathetic. You have to create a villain that's interesting to root against. You have to create an entire arc in 90 to 120 minutes. I mean, look, by the way, guys, when movies are 5 hours long, it's not a fucking movie anymore. That's a Netflix series. So, Marty, stop it. Like, just stop it. It's a fucking series. That's not a movie anymore. So you know, this is a really hard format to write in, and there are very few people that can do it. That's just the truth. I can't tell you the number of screenplays I read a year. And I'm like, oh, guys. Because you want to be cool. You want to be nice to people. You want to be respectful. I can tell you, I can be 6 pages into a screenplay and know whether it's worth my time or not.
Yeah.
Because you know. That first scene, you better know. If that scene doesn't grab you, if that first thing doesn't get you, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? And by the way, it doesn't matter if it's formatted correctly. I don't care if someone wrote it in fucking crayon. If the first scene catches me, I go, cool, I'll read the next scene. Great. Good to go. Interested. I'm interested. But you have to capture someone's interest. That takes talent. Making a movie, directing a movie, producing a movie, it takes fucking truckloads of talent. And by the way, some of the most talented filmmakers that have ever worked at some point lose the talent for it. They lose the thread. I think it's usually because people get famous and rich, and then they are not hungry anymore.
Yeah, the hunger is gone. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You know, to prove themselves. You know,
This is why I've never become independently wealthy, so that I can stay hungry. That's
yeah. You know, you take like when I think of Carpenter,
Thanks,
we were
Alex,
talking
I
about
appreciate
Carpenter before. Yeah. Like,
I mean, heck, we are so far away from even to be in what Hollywood would consider independent.
right.
Matt and I like to joke around that we make our films for 50 cents on the prayer.
yeah.
Yeah. But by the way, I want to tell you something. You guys are not far off anymore from the way everybody's making movies. Nobody's making movies for big money anymore, unless you're Marvel or Spielberg. You don't get a big budget. It doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't exist. We get $1 million. We're over the moon at this point. When I first got into the business, people were getting almost $1 million just to write a script. I was.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, that's the industry has changed. Boy, has it changed. I mean, streaming has fucked us all. Fuck streaming. It's the worst thing to ever happen to our industry, and it's killing independent film completely. But yeah, if you can't make your movie for 2 bologna sandwiches and a ball of string, you can't make a movie anymore. By the way, it's why I feel blessed in many ways that I have made so many movies that way, because I know how to do it. So when somebody comes to me and says, look, you know, we only have this, I'm like, done. Easy. And do that with my eyes closed, because you know how to do it.
Do you think that's the success of independent film that's doing that, where studios go, look, these guys didn't need that money to make that successful
Oh, well, yeah,
movie.
they definitely,
You know what I mean?
that's how they justify
They're
it.
pinching the wallet anyways, you know,
100%.
whatever they, yeah.
That's all it's about. And look, by the way, theatrical is making a comeback, which is amazing. Like, that's amazing, right?
Yeah.
And physical media is making a comeback. I can tell you that from my own personal experience, because Hearts of Darkness Making the Final Friday has sold out on Blu-ray. We're going to have to do another pressing. Fuck yeah. That means there's an audience that's saying, I want physical media. Fuck yeah. And it's why I haven't released the movie to streaming. And I won't.
Yeah.
I'm waiting. Once it's done its run on physical media. By the way, the VHS is selling out right now. VHS. Guys, I had to make a deal for VHS.
You gotta, dude. People love it, dude. Like, records are huge again.
Yeah.
VHS
Well,
are
but
huge.
wait, here's the thing. Records were always a good way to listen to music.
Yeah.
VHS is not a good way to watch movies. Like, if somebody said Beta's coming back, I'd be like, okay, Beta was pretty fucking badass.
Yeah.
No, they're like VHS, which is the single worst way to deliver movies. But you know what? Nostalgia, God bless it. God bless it, because it's the thing. It's the thing that's going to keep. By the way, Retro Releasing are the guys who put out the VHS for us. I have to tell you, I have never met artists more in love with what they're doing. And these guys are not making a fortune. They're barely making a living. But their love of this format, their love of their audience and their fan base, their love of their customers, it's the coolest thing. Like, I'm like, this is what it should all look like. This is what this should be. By the way, I mean, Synapse is putting out the Blu-ray, and Red Shirt, which is Michael Felsher's company, who is the director of the movie, which is why I made the deal with them, because it was like, nobody's going to love this movie the way Michael does. That's whose hands I'm putting it in. These guys, they go from horror convention to horror convention to horror convention, with tables selling the fucking thing on the table. Man, that's commitment to the art. That's saying, I believe in what I'm doing, that I spend my off weekends shucking and jiving at fucking horror conventions. That's not much of a life, guys. That's tough. I'm on the road a lot at horror conventions. And by the way, I love doing it. It's fantastic. But it's hard. That is a hard just setting up the table every fucking week. You're like, oh my God, again? Yeah. But you know what? It's sort of like when I'm meeting fans at horror conventions, when I'm actually sitting and talking with people. I had this. I was at Texas Frightmare last year ago, literally a year ago, when we did the American premiere of Hearts of Darkness, and I'm signing autographs and whatnot. And my producing partner showed up, and he'd never seen me at a con before, right? Because that's not, he was busy putting money together for movies, and so he was there because we were having the world premiere of the movie, and he stood at my table. He was behind me, and in a 5-minute period of time, he saw, I have this wonderful fan named Jeff who came to me with his entire family. And he and his wife and many of his children are deaf. The way I got to interact with these extraordinary people, who I've known Jeff for forever online. He's one of those guys who reaches out. And so there was like this incredible connection, and I'm doing as much sign language as I can. My wife is much better with sign language, but we're communicating, and it's like all of his kids are hugging me and all. I mean, it was just like amazing, right? My buddy is standing behind me like, holy shit, this is what this looks like? I said, yeah. And as I say that, I turn back. Another kid with a parent comes up to my table and actually says to me, how much for a hug?
Oh.
I was like, oh man, listen, if your parents say it's okay, hugs are free.
For sure, yeah.
And I come around the booth, I come and pick this kid up, I hug him, I gave him some free swag, and then his parents spent a bunch of money getting signed shit and whatnot. But the fact that this kid just wanted a hug, I was like, man, you just made my whole weekend. Like, I don't care I don't care if I make $1 at this point. If you're not doing it for that, you do not belong in this industry. Yeah. It's about the fans. It's about, look, I was that kid one day. I was that kid.
Yeah.
I will tell you, I went to one of the very first Fango conventions in New York City. My dad lived in Manhattan, but the night we came in, me and my buddies, we all came in. We wanted to be like first online in the morning for Fango. So stupid. And my dad was out of town, and he didn't tell me. I didn't tell him I was going to be there. He didn't know. So he was gone. I didn't have a key to his apartment. Me and my buddies were like 13, I think. We slept in Grand Central Station. Like on the benches in Grand Central Station.
That's a horror movie in itself.
And we were the first people at the convention, at the Fango convention in the morning. And it was the day I met Dick Smith.
Hell yeah.
And by the way, this is when nobody charged at conventions. Tom Savini was there. I knew Tom already because of the Cunninghams. Tom didn't charge for an autograph. Can you imagine Tom Savini not charging for an autograph? Holy shit. Yeah. I'm amazed that the earth didn't open up and swallow us all whole. But Dick Smith signed 7 things for me. And the whole time, and I'm there for probably 10 minutes with him, talking with him about movies and about effects. And he opened my eyes even wider to the world of things that I wanted to know how to do. And at one point I said something about American Werewolf in London. And I said, can I ask, how did he do that? And I asked one of the effects in the movie, how did they do it? And Dick Smith said, well, I think, and he surmised maybe how it was done, but he said, but I got to tell you, Rick's come up with some stuff that even I don't know how to do. Now, I know Dick Smith knew everything that Rick did. Like, I knew he knew all of it. But there was a certain modicum of respect in not showing the magician's work. Right. And in letting this younger artist be this magician who even mystified the master. That's what we should aspire to be. That's who we need to be, So I always try to be that when I'm at my booth. I always try to be. I'm honest. Somebody asked me about Sean Cunningham. I'm not gonna he's the best. No, I don't do that. Fuck that. I also say about Val Kilmer. Sometimes God gets the right one. Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. By the way, if I told stories from the set, which eventually I will tell the stories from the set, Val would have been canceled 5 minutes after my movie. 5 minutes after. Canceled forever.
I believe that. Yeah,
fuck that guy.
The closest I think public's got to see how crazy Val Kilmer was that...
the documentary about Lost Souls?
Lost Souls, yeah. Him and Brando like refusing to go on set before the other one and stuff.
I am telling you, that shit is mild.
I'm sure.
That's the mild version of what he did on that movie.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, I watched him do things on my movie that I really was like, can I get a cop on set, please?
Really?
Yes. He assaulted me on day 6.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, physically assaulted me. He kicked me in the nuts. I went down like a sack of potatoes. He was drunk and high.
Yeah.
And he wanted me to look at his new Crocs. He had gotten a pair of Crocs. He was very excited about his fucking shower shoes, his plastic shower shoes.
Yeah.
And I was setting up a shot. I said, Val, give me 1 second. I'm talking to my cinematographer, and literally I just feel, boom, and I was like, oh! And I turn around, and there's Val, like, landed the kick right to my balls. I've hit the deck, and Val stands over me, giggling like Linda Blair at the end of
The Exorcist.
The Exorcist, sitting over a dying Father Merrin. Literally like that.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, that's a mild story. That story is mild.
You think he's a special case, or do you think that's just an old style Hollywood?
No. That's not old style. No. That's not old style Hollywood. And by the way, Marlon Brando was a piece of shit too. I'm so tired.
Yeah,
of
Alex
people
fucking hates Brando over here.
Good for you, Alex.
I gotta say, I mean, I've gotten into many a conversation where I put Marlon Brando as someone who has always been overhyped,
Always
over glamorized.
Yep.
I mean, I kind of put him in the same category as Jared Leto. Okay.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I don't think you're wrong.
Where, you know, they claim like, oh, I'm doing this to be more method or more, you know, in tune with the role so it can give a great performance.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, listen, I have a very simple belief when it comes to being an actor,
Mm-hmm.
that you do whatever you have to do to get in the role, but that happens before set. Before you even get on set. When you're on set, you've already done all the work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And when you get there, if what you need gives problems to the crew, the director, even the costume designer, you're already doing a disservice to not only what you're doing a disservice to the project.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And by the way, look, Brando, I love this idea that Brando worked once he was on set. No, he didn't. That's all horseshit.
Yeah.
And method. Fuck you, method. It's all, oh my God, what a giant fucking lie. By the way, there are actors who are method. I mean, Daniel Day-Lewis all day long. He's also, you know, I think, insane.
Alex doesn't like when he was in the movie where he's in the wheelchair and people had to push him around and carry him. He brings that up too.
That doesn't. I'll tell you, that doesn't bother me, and I'll tell you why. And I honestly will tell you why.
Yeah.
When an actor, look, there are actors who want to be called the name of the character the whole day. There are actors that want to stay immersed in it, and that's their method. Okay,
right.
And that doesn't bother me.
Right.
What bothers me is people who hide behind method when really all they want to do is make the money that they're making, treat everybody like a fucking servant, and go to cool places where they get to shoot the movie and then be late 6 hours every day. And that's Brando. That's Brando by all accounts. And look, you know, I mean, let's even move Last Tango in Paris out of the conversation, because that right there,
that ends it. Itself.
Like that ends it. You assault somebody on camera, and the director admits that that's what you did. We're done. Like the conversation should be over forever. Right. I don't care about you anymore, man. But when it comes to the overrated part of this, you know, look at some early Kirk Douglas stuff. And you'll watch an actor who's not doing that shit, who's not pulling that nonsense, who's already doing the kind of simple, small, grounded work, right? You watch some of these guys, like Robert Mitchum, had some performances that you're like, wow, where'd this come from? Brando, you know, everybody went nuts when he did Streetcar. What people forget, Brando had over 1,000 performances of Streetcar on Broadway before he made the movie. Mm. Boy, he better be fucking good in that role.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, what are we talking about? What? By that point, you know it better than you know your own name. So, yeah, it better be honest and interesting and well done. Ilya Kazan is a bigger part of the reason why that thing works so well.
Definitely.
And his co-stars, who were all brilliant and didn't have the background that he had with that piece of material. You know, a guy like Carl Malden in View from the Bridge, that's a performance, you know, and he didn't make anybody suffer for his work. So this idea, look, there are a lot of these guys, I will say, like, did you guys see One Battle After Another?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm a huge fan of the movie. I'm a big fan of PTA. I just think even though he's made movies that I don't love,
Sure.
I still love that he makes the movies he makes because nobody else is making those movies. Like, he makes singular, interesting, who the fuck thought anyone would make that kind of movies. I watch someone like Sean Penn, right, who's got a reputation for being a maniac.
Yeah.
But he's a maniac who busts his hump to do the best work he can possibly do. Has he had drug problems in the past? Yes, he has. Yes, he has. And he'll be the first one to tell you he has. Has he been a pain in the ass? Sure he has. There's a difference. In that scene where he has to get a hard-on, beginning of the movie, right? When he is forced to get a hard-on at gunpoint. I turned to my wife, as we're watching it opening day, I turned to my wife and I said, that's not a prosthetic. That's him. I guarantee you that is him. That's his dick. That's what's happening. That's, for me, that says so much. By the way, not that he can get a boner. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
It's that in the circumstances of making a movie, there is nothing less sexy in the world than shooting a fucking movie.
Right.
Okay? By the way, even if it's a full nude scene, there's nothing less sexy. I've shot a lot of nude scenes. They're the worst. They're the worst. Okay? That, to me, I go, now that's a method actor. That's a guy who has got such a picture in his head, who is acting to such a degree that he is having a physiological thing happen to his body in a circumstance where no one would have that response.
Yeah. That's
a great performer. That's a great actor. By the way, you never hear from other actors, Sean Penn's a dick to me when we're on set. You don't hear that.
Right.
You hear, he supports me. Listen, there are people who are a pain in the ass for writers and directors. There are people who are a pain in the ass for producers. I've met those actors, okay? If you're great to your fellow actor, we're good. We're good. I'll put up with your bullshit. Fine.
For sure.
Be good to them, we're fine. But you better be good to them.
Yeah.
Val Kilmer, I have never met a worse actor in my life. Because he did not give a fuck about his fellow actors. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Fuck him. Happy to say it. Will say it till the... I'm telling you, I had people call me the day he died. I had reporters call me and news outlets asking me for a quote. And I said, yeah, only quote I got for you is, my mom always said, if I don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Thanks.
Yeah.
That's it.
He wasn't too beloved. They tried
dude, wait, but check the day he died. So many people have worked with him who can't fucking stand that guy, all lined up to say, oh my God, we've lost one of the great artists of our time. Fuck, what is wrong with people? By the way, why do we think that people keep getting away with bad behavior? That's why.
Yeah.
That's why.
Well, they pushed that documentary thinking he was, making him out to be like the true artist, greatest guy, misunderstood artist type deal.
Well, his son made the movie, so yeah.
Is that who it was? Yeah, that makes sense.
And by the way, Jack was the only way I got Val to behave a couple extra days on my set was because we shot during Father's Day, and so Jack flew in for Father's Day, and I paid to bump Jack's ticket a few days, and I gave Jack the behind-the-scenes camera. Jack was 11. Huh. I let Jack ride the camera and roll a couple shots for me.
Yeah.
But I was like, as long as this kid's on my set, Val has to behave. And he did.
That's great director stuff that you don't learn. You can't teach that. You know what I mean? That's something you learn throughout the process of it.
But here's the problem. A director shouldn't have to do that.
Yeah.
And that's the shame. Val made $1.5 million on that movie, right? He made a giant percentage of that budget.
Yeah.
He made more money than the rest of the cast and crew made combined.
Shit,
you should not be the problem.
for sure.
Yeah.
How dare you? I mean, how dare you? And honestly, I don't care if you're getting paid $50. If you took the job, how dare you? So I hear these actors who behave this way. And by the way, every rumor is true. They're all true. Okay? Nobody is maligned without reason. Okay? I'm not talking about one person said a thing. That's not what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm saying you hear someone's got a drug problem, they got a drug problem. It's just the way it is, man. You know? And look, I'm someone who has never once drank alcohol or done drugs in my life. Ever. My best friend the same way. We're both straight edge. We were straight edge bands when we were kids and the whole thing. And I used to have tremendous tolerance for it. I have zero tolerance now. Zero. Yeah. I do not give a fuck. We're here to work. I want to have a good time, man. I want my set to be a fucking party. No two ways about it. But it's a work party. And if you come to work drunk or stoned, go fuck yourself. How dare you? And don't tell me like, I ate a gummy. Fuck off. It's still a drug. Not while we're working, man. You want to go home and fucking shoot heroin. I don't give a shit. Have fun. Do your thing, man. I think everybody should be allowed to do whatever the fuck they want. But when we're on set together and I'm responsible for your safety more than anything, you know, people lost their minds when Tom Cruise went nuts on those guys who were fucking around with COVID protocols during Mission Impossible. Yeah. And people were like, oh, how dare he talk to... I was like, no. How dare they break protocol when that motherfucker's putting his line and his money on the line to keep people employed? He's right. They're wrong. You're upset that he yelled? Fuck you. People could die. He's responsible for people's lives. That I have zero tolerance for that shit. Yeah. You know, that's not Christian Bale yelling at a guy because he's in front of his lights. Oh, for fuck's sake. That's someone who's talking about the life and livelihood of 200 people that he's supporting in that moment. Yeah. Nope.
And even though, you know, the respect of the fact that I've always loved Tom Cruise. I know some people don't dig him.
Guy's amazing.
I heard he was super nice. I know one person.
He's super nice.
Said he was super nice. Yeah.
And by the way, 100% professional.
Yeah.
You will never find anyone. You will not find one person who says Tom Cruise was unprofessional on my set. You won't find it. Doesn't happen.
And those Mission Impossible movies, he literally puts his life on the line, dude, doing those stunts. You know what I mean?
Yes. He is our last movie star. He is an actual fucking movie star. By the way, I think Ryan Gosling just kind of moved up into the movie star territory, which I think is great, which I think is awesome. That movie's great. So
I gotta check that out still. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. It's really good.
Project Hail Mary.
Yeah, it's really good, man. Have you seen it, Alex?
I haven't seen it yet. I do want to see it. I mean, I'm a big Ryan Gosling fan.
Guys, see it in the theater. Don't wait for home, man. And here's the thing. Hopefully nobody's spoiled anything for you, I hope.
No, I haven't. Nothing.
All I know is that he's the last hope. That's about all I know.
Well, and Project Hail Mary should say that to you from the title. I got to tell you guys, what's so wonderful about the movie, for me, when I was a kid, every weekend we went to the movies, there was another incredible movie that came out. And when I say incredible movie, I'm including shit like Revenge of the Nerds and Porky's.
Hell yeah.
Wait, now by the way, are they base humor? Yes. Watch them to this day. They're still fucking amazing movies. Yes. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't insensitive shit in all these movies. Yes, there's insensitive shit. Honestly, I wish all of our movies still had insensitive shit. I think we're missing the point of what the insensitive shit. I just watched, and I'll get back to Project Hail Mary, I promise. Yeah. I just watched Assault on Precinct. Not Assault. I just watched The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3.
The original.
There is no other. Fuck that. What are you kidding me? So I just watched that movie because we have a thing called the Skeleton Crew Film Club. So in my whole group of actors and filmmakers, we pick a movie a month as a group. We'll pick a genre, and then we'll have 3 choices, and everybody chooses one movie, right? So this month, it's Taking Pelham 1, 2, 3. My best friend and editor, Eric Beatner, is the one who came up with that. And so we're watching that movie. Now, there are the N-word is used in the movie by Hector Elizondo, one of the greatest actors of that period, amazing actor. It is said while he cracks this young black man in the face with the back end of his gun, right, on the subway and hurts this kid. In that moment, there's a Jewish guy sitting next to the black kid. He tells off the guy for what he just did, right? He then tries to help this kid, and the kid kind of is like, hey, man, I'm used to it. Now, okay, in that moment, a horrible, disgusting word was said. It was said by a villain. It was said by someone who's terrible, right? And it was defended by people who actually aren't terrible and who gave comfort to the person who had gone through it. And then the person who had gone through it said, that's the world I live in. By the way, still the world we're living in today, right? Then later in the film, Walter Matthau, only a few minutes later, Walter Matthau is taking 4 Japanese business guys through the New York City subway and kind of showing them around. And they have not spoken any English, so he assumes that they cannot speak English. And he says horrible things to them.
Yeah.
Okay? And we're laughing. Like, the whole time you're laughing, right? You're like, this is hilarious because they don't understand him. When the shit hits the fan and he asks somebody to take these guys out because they shouldn't be there while they're dealing with this situation, the first guy walks up to him and says, oh, no, you don't have to tell. We know how to get out. We understand English. Thank you very much. It was lovely meeting you. And the look on Walter Matthau's face is like, oh, no. And then the second guy comes over and goes, thank you very much. It was a wonderful time. But you can tell these guys were all looking at him going, we know every fucking word you said, asshole. Yeah. And Matthau has a look on his face because he was such a fucking god of acting.
Yeah.
He has a look on his face where you just see shame. Tremendous shame. He's not laughing. He doesn't think it's clever. He feels like an asshole. Okay. Yeah. Both of those things you couldn't put in a movie now. You couldn't put it in a movie. You'd get canceled.
Right.
Isn't that a fucking shame?
Yeah.
How are we ever going to learn how to be better people if we don't see people make mistakes in our entertainment and get called out for it like that movie does so brilliantly?
Yeah.
Like, I think the great shame of our age is like people are going to stop watching Blazing Saddles. Then you're going to miss one of the most important movies made in the civil rights era.
Yeah.
Because you are so busy bubble wrapping a world that isn't bubble wrapped. It's not. So all we do is bubble wrap movies, but the world is still fucking hard and miserable, and people still say horrible shit to each other, right? So we're not going to learn anything. That said, what was great about that period was every weekend a new incredible movie came out. And guys, I mean, I'm telling you, like, I could go through like 1 year in the late 70s, early 80s, and every weekend there was another classic.
Oh, yeah.
Classic, okay?
Yeah.
Now, that does not happen.
Yeah.
Okay? This movie, I sat there with my wife, and the two of us were watching it, and I was like, I feel like I'm watching E.T. for the first time. I feel like I'm sitting in a theater in 1982, experiencing something that made my heart soar, that made me feel like anything was possible, that took me out of the world I'm in, put me in the world of the movie, and made me feel 10 feet tall. That is this movie. And I haven't heard anybody describe it that way, which drives me nuts, because I'm like, no, this is a throwback to a time when we made these movies all the time. And it's one guy in a spaceship, okay? And I am telling you, it is riveting and beautiful. And also, it's funny, we saw that, and then literally the very next weekend, we saw the drama, right? The Zendaya, Robert Pattinson movie.
Okay.
And we finished the movie. I turned to Deb, my wife, and she turned to me and went, did we just see a drama out of the mid-70s? I was like, yes! Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, 2 weekends in a row of movies that are like for adults. By the way, Project Hail Mary you can bring kids to and they'll have a great time.
Okay.
But movies for adults that have a point of view, that are smart, that are never written dumb for an audience. No one's spoon-feeding us. They are committed to telling a story that is unique, and interesting and thoughtfully provoking. And in the case of the drama, there are people getting pissed off about this movie. I'm like, good. Get pissed off and have a conversation with people about it. That's what movies used to do.
Yeah.
We used to talk about movies. Nobody talks about movies anymore. They just say, hey, did you see the latest Terrifier? That girl got fucked up, huh? Okay, great.
It's true.
Good for you. Good for you.
Actually, it's funny. The drama literally was filmed in my town.
Really?
Phillips Academy.
Oh, yeah.
Up the
Yes.
street from Andover.
Yes.
Yeah, I work right in CVS downtown Andover. Unfortunately, they thought I was too much of an actor to cast me. So, yeah, unfortunately, they thought I was going to take away attention from the two leads. So.
I can totally understand
That's
that.
it.
That's I totally get it.
So unfortunately, I am not in the movie. But
I will tell you, it looks beautiful because you can tell it's shot on location. Like it has a richness to it that a lot of movies just simply don't. It looks great. Guys, it's a great movie. By the way, you don't have to see that in the theater. You can see that on streaming. It's fine, or on physical media. I hope you buy some physical media. But you can see that film, and it's not going to lose anything in translation to a smaller screen. Project Hail Mary. I'm only sad that you guys can't see it in IMAX, because I saw it in IMAX and it was the way to see the movie. That said, see it in the theater, like get immersed. And by the way, it's still playing. I think it's number 2 or number 3 this weekend. It's still in the top 5. That's amazing. And yeah, I think it makes Ryan Gosling a fucking movie star.
I've loved Ryan for a while. Drive was the movie that really turned me on.
Dude, it's so good. It's
Love
so
it.
good.
One of the best movies of the last 20 years.
Hey, I got you beat. I was following him when he was young Hercules, so,
Love it. Well done.
Enough.
I will tell you, though, if you like Drive,
right?
If you like that movie, have you seen Pusher?
Oh, yeah. I'm a big Refn fan. I think
Me too. Pusher 1, 2, and 3, all 3 of those movies are fucking incredible. All 3 of them. Like, there's not a bad moment in those 3 films.
Yeah. Only God Forgives was really good, too.
Really good.
Refn was a filmmaker that was like the shit. He was like the man for like 2, 3, 4 years, and then he kind of like disappeared and started doing like miniseries.
By the way, he wants to make money. That's what that's about. I mean, when you shoot TV, TV is money. That's literally what that is. And God bless him. Do your thing. I don't think there'll ever be a time when he doesn't come back to make a movie every once in a while. I think he'll always make stuff. But yeah, man, like I get it. It's hard. It's hard to just be a filmmaker now. It's hard. It's what I do all the time, and it's hard. Yeah,
like the Neon Demon, I thought was good, but not as good as the previous 2.
It's okay. It's a miss. It's a miss. But again, like Paul Thomas Anderson, like Roger Eggers, like Robert Eggers, like Ari Aster, right? And Ari Aster I have a very difficult relationship with. From a filmmaking standpoint.
Yeah.
But you know what? I fucking love that these guys are making movies. Like, I love it. I don't care if it's made for me or not. I don't care. That's not the point. The point is there are unique voices being given a chance to tell stories, and we need that. God, do we need that? Like, look, I mean, I come from genre and from serious legacy genre, right?
Yeah.
And I got my first movie was part 9 of a series, and then I did Texas Chainsaw, and I beg people, stop wanting the same fucking movie over and over again. Like, stop. You gotta stop. Because we've run these things into the ground, and we're going to keep running them into the ground. And there is nothing but diminishing returns. We do not. It doesn't get better. It doesn't. I know there are people who will defend the latest trilogy of Halloween movies. I'm not one of them. I really thought what was done with The Exorcist by the same filmmakers was shockingly bad. I rarely ever say anything negative about another filmmaker's work. That movie, how dare they? I mean, how dare they? And now, I wish I could stand in front of the bus that Mike Flanagan is driving right now. Because I go, dude, I love Mike Flanagan. I think he's fucking brilliant.
Yeah,
and I just
he's good.
you can't win. You can't win. You make another Exorcist movie, there's no winning. There's no winning. No one is going to say you made a better movie than William Friedkin. It's not going to happen.
For sure.
It's not going to happen.
Absolutely,
Because
yeah.
you can't make a better movie than William Friedkin made. It's like someone saying, I'm going to make The Godfather 4. No! Don't! Like, don't do it.
Right.
Don't make another Jaws. They're not going to get better. They're only going to get less interesting. And I think that's true of all of these things. So when a guy like Ari Aster wants to tell a story, and I know, chances are I'm not going to love it.
Right.
But you know what? Don't care. Don't care. I'm excited that someone is letting these new voices say something. By the way, I will say, look, I think the Evil Dead series has been lucky enough to have some very interesting voices come into it.
Yeah.
And I think Sam is not too precious with the material where he lets people kind of breathe with it. So I think there's been some interesting work there. But I feel as though we need as many new ideas and new characters. Look, by the way, Terrifier is not for me. It's not for me, okay?
Yeah, I don't understand the hype of Terrifier.
But you know what? But I still go, I'm so glad somebody has another character. I'm so
Right.
glad somebody made a different slasher. Now, by the way, we're 3 movies in, and again, I think we're going to get diminishing returns from this point forward, guys, even in the things you love about it.
Yeah.
But that said, I give Damien full credit. I go, dude, you stood behind that character from All's Hallows Eve all the way on. God bless you, man. That takes balls. That does. And he turned it into something that made him a ton of money. And that really did help horror have a bit of a resurgence,
For
right?
sure.
That's awesome. So I'm never going to denigrate that series of movies simply because I go, it doesn't matter that it's not for me. It's for a large enough group of our brethren who love these movies that gets them excited about horror and gets them back into the theater. There's nothing bad about that. That's like all positive.
Yeah, Damien's a good dude. We've interviewed him and David. We've been interviewed them both.
Yeah.
Ari Aster, I gotta say this. You brought up Ari Aster, dude. Hereditary
Yes.
is fucking incredible. I love
Incredible.
Hereditary. Midsommar,
Incredible.
I thought was really good. Not as good as Hereditary, but me and Alex were in New York, and we watched put on Beau is Afraid in the hotel room, dude, and it was like.
Tough watch. That's tough.
The only reason we didn't shut it off because we're like, where is this going, dude?
Right.
What is
By the way,
what is
By
going
the way, I
on?
will say, the last 40 minutes of that movie,
Yeah.
I wish that was the movie.
Yeah.
Like that, I went, the minute Parker Posey entered the movie. By the way, I've never been a giant Parker Posey fan.
No.
Parker Posey in that movie, I was like, God damn, woman. And by the way, a fully naked late 50s Parker Posey. Who had that on their bingo card?
Yeah.
And I was like, good for you. Like, well done, Parker Posey. Like, good for you. You're actually telling the story. It never felt exploitive. And Patti LuPone is a family friend, so I was thrilled to see her, and I think she did great work.
Yeah.
But I sat there going, why wasn't this the fucking movie? I don't understand. What was that? What was all that shit for 3 hours before we got to this thing? Because this thing's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you. Look, I'm not as forgiving to Midsommar as you guys are, but that's okay.
Yeah. It was the Wicker Man, pretty much. You know.
You think?
Yeah.
Hey, not as good as the Nicolas Cage one, but
The bees.
But is anything? By the way, wait. What I do like about Midsommar is that it didn't just take from the original Wicker Man. It took from the Nicolas Cage one because it put him in a bear suit.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was like, wow. All right, Ari. You were like, I'm not just curbing from this one. I'm going to take from the Nick Cage masterpiece, The Bees.
Yeah.
But
I'm sorry,
Hereditary.
I got a weakness for Nick Cage.
He's the
me
man.
too,
Cage
dude.
is the dude.
By the way, I don't want to know someone who doesn't have a weakness for Nick Cage. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
for
sorry.
sure.
Like, the guy is... and I will also tell you, you will never hear a bad story about Nick Cage in our industry. Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. He is the first guy to set, last guy to leave. He is that guy. He's that guy. He's a pro. He's an actual professional actor, and he cares about his fellow performers. in such a huge way. By the way, if you guys have not seen Pig, I'm sure you have.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
That movie, that is a towering achievement. I still think that's way too underrated, that film. I love that film. That said, Hereditary was one of those movies that, man, I loved it so much. I was so in love with that movie, and it broke my heart. Like, it beat me up, that film.
Yeah.
30 minutes in, when that moment happens, there's a sound that came out of my body that I've never heard before or since. Like, there was a thing that, like, it was like this gremlin jumped out of my soul. And my wife kind of turned and looked at me. We were opening night of the movie in Hollywood, and she kind of was like, "Oh my God." And 5 minutes later, she turned and looked at me again, and I was still like this. And she said, "Are you okay?" And I said, I don't know if I am.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can sit here for the rest of this. I don't know. I was so rattled, right?
Yeah.
And then the third act happened, and I just went... So it's Rosemary's Baby meets Exorcist 3, and naked old people are the scary thing?
The cult, yeah. I like the cult vibe.
Wait, I love a good cult. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But imagine this. Imagine you played the movie exactly the same way as the movie is, right? Play the whole thing. And the last moment, instead of her son being up a tree, the last moment is her standing in her living room over the burnt corpse of her husband and the torn to pieces corpse of her son. And she did it. And she killed them both. Because Hereditary is a movie about grief. It's not a movie about cults. It's a movie about grief.
Yeah.
And if the movie is what the picture that was in her mind, her broken, fucked up, destroyed mind, and she murdered her family, that to me is a horror movie that stays with me for the rest of my life.
For sure.
The one they made is great. I love that movie. But I get to the end and I go, it's not as good as Rosemary's Baby. It's not as good as Exorcist 3. So you lose.
Yeah.
And you could have been completely original, even using all the stuff from Exorcist 3 and Rosemary. Like, use it. I'm all for taking from the people who came before you. That's great.
Yeah.
But then give me an ending that I go, she killed her whole family. She did it. It's her.
Yeah.
And she's not, it's not a monster. It's not a cult. It's a woman who's dealing with grief, which we all deal with, but it broke her. And so she murdered everything she cares about. That's horror. That's actually terrifying. Also, that whole ad campaign was the scariest movie since The Exorcist. We have to stop that.
Yeah, we do.
We have to stop that. We got to stop it.
Yeah.
That and naked old people are not scary. They're just not scary. They're just naked and old.
Yeah. Did you see Weapons?
I did.
What did you think of Weapons? I liked Weapons.
I like Weapons a lot. I think that I think that he has an interesting problem that I'm interested to see how it evolves. Is that he loves suddenly turning his movies into Looney Tune cartoons.
Yeah.
Like, he digs that. Both his first two films. While I think both of them are really interesting and really well done, I do get to the end and kind of go, okay. That said, I don't think I've ever seen a movie about school shootings that was more powerful than the movie Weapons.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. It's amazing.
I heard they announced a sequel, which I wasn't a fan of that. I don't think that film needs a sequel.
Well, they're doing a prequel.
Oh, okay.
So it's about Gladys. It's about her becoming the monster that she is. So that could be more interesting. And look, Amy Madigan playing that character one more time. I'm all for that happening.
Yeah.
But look, I mean, I think Weapons is great. I will also say one thing. The Pulp Fiction style chapter thing.
Yeah.
Is great in any movie except horror. Because when you tell me there's a chapter break, you pull me out of the movie.
Yeah.
So it's something like Pulp Fiction, you're like laughing. You're like, oh shit, oh my God, you just shot Vince Vega and then he's alive. Oh my God, right? It's just more like, oh, what? In a horror movie, I just go, oh, so this is fake. Okay. And then I'm out. And then I'm pulled back out again. You don't want to pull me out of your story. You want me to be immersed and stay in your story.
Yeah.
So the whole chapter thing, I'm not a giant fan of. Just in horror, again, the guy is an incredibly interesting voice. I think he's making really fucking cool movies. I think he got some Academy Awards for this movie. God bless him.
Yeah.
I mean, between that and Sinners, Jesus, we had a great year last year. We just did. Horror in general had a great fucking year. I will tell you, though, those two movies are far behind my favorite horror movie of last year, which was hands down Bring Her Back.
Really, I'd have to check that out. I haven't seen that one.
It's from the Philippou brothers who made Talk to Me.
Yeah.
Which I was a fan of. Talk to Me. I wasn't a giant fan, but I went, this is a good movie. Like, this is a good first effort. Well done. Cool movie. Bring Her Back is upsetting. Like, really, like, under your skin, what the fuck kind of movie. Yeah. With images you can never erase. They stay there forever. And they're great. Alex, have you seen it yet?
No, I saw the trailer. I was interested in seeing it.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, unfortunately, I got like a list of movies I keep on wanting to watch, but because of life.
That one is special, guys. That's a special movie. The performances are there are 3 children in the movie that give 3 of the best performances of last year. From any actor. And Sally Hawkins is, you will suddenly go, wow, Weapons should have had some competition in that category.
Yeah.
Because her performance, you will never forget. It's an amazing film, guys. It's really good. Yeah, that one's easily my favorite horror movie of last year.
Yeah, the trailer looked great. I've seen the trailer. It looked really good.
It's great. It is upsetting. Like, I'm telling you, like, be ready to be upset. It's upsetting. It's great. It's great.
Sinners was good.
It does what horror should do. It gets under our skin and won't leave you after the movie's over.
Oh, yeah.
You can't get rid of it.
Good horror, yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Sinners. I am going to say that, it's very From Dusk Till Dawn-y.
Dude, 100%.
Except
100%.
Instead of like, Mexican culture music, it's like African-American culture
Absolutely.
music.
Which, by the way, is great. Look, I look at a movie like Sinners, and everybody's like, "My God, there's never been a movie like it." It's blah, blah, blah. And I turn and I say to everybody, "Hey, have you seen Near Dark?"
Yeah, that's what.
Maybe you should go check out some movies that happened before you were born.
Yeah,
exactly. Because you might actually, and that doesn't take away from Sinners at all.
Right.
It's just going. It's like when people watch Nosferatu, the recent one, and went, "Oh my God, this is remarkable! I've never seen the line." I'm like, God, I've seen it 7 times before this.
For
the exact same movie, in fact.
The audience puts it in hot water, so to speak, because with Sinners, like even like with the brother dynamic, and then how one of them turns into a vampire. I'm like, that's fucking From Dusk Till Dawn, like
100%.
Great movie. I really like Sinners a lot, but like, don't say it's the most original horror movie ever made.
No, it is not.
Yeah.
The love of the cultural aspects are new, and that's really cool. To have set it in that period with the background that they set it into, awesome. Like that's for me. Look, I was. The thing about Sinners was I was much more excited when he went up against the white supremacist assholes at the end of the movie than I was about him going up against the vampires. It was like, the vampires I really didn't hate. I hate those motherfuckers. Shoot them. I'm cool with that. Leave the vampire. I don't give an Irish vampire. By the way, who knew all the vampires were Irish and they all did a jig? Who knew that? But they do. But incredibly important movie, especially because, once again, it is refreshing our genre. It is telling people, go to this genre. You're going to find so many wonders, so many interesting things. And look, by the way, it's allowed me to open the conversation for people and say, hey, go watch Near Dark.
Yeah.
And by the way, you want to see a progressive movie? See a movie that was directed by a woman when no women were directing, especially horror. There were no women in horror. It was Catherine Bigelow, and she stood alone.
Yeah.
And, and she's a badass who's still working to this day.
She's
God bless her.
Oh.
She's been my filmmaker making crush since that movie. Oh my God.
She's still going.
Be Still My Heart.
Hurt Locker and stuff.
She's amazing.
Well, Sinners had even a Tarantino ending when it was very Inglorious Bastards, like when he like killed all the racist dudes.
Yep.
But
I will tell you, we went to see the movie again, opening day. I always try to hit it the first day so nobody can spoil anything for me.
Good.
And I'm sitting next to Deb, and I turned to her. We're about just at the moment you meet the kid who's playing the guitar and he's singing, right? That young man.
Yeah.
And I turned to Deb and I said, I'm going to make a prediction. She's like, okay. I said, end of this movie, that kid's going to be like a really old man, and I don't know, they're going to get somebody like Buddy Guy to play him. And we got to the end of the movie, and Buddy Guy showed up as that character, and Deborah turned to me and went, "You're a witch!" I was like, I just felt it coming. I felt it coming down the tracks, baby. Sinners was fun for me just because I nailed it so much where it was going.
Yeah.
And by the way, there's a performance that not enough people are talking about in that movie. The woman who played his wife, not the girlfriend, but the wife. That woman who was the sort of hoodoo lady who knew all the backstory and all that woman's performance in that movie, holy crap, man. Yeah. I was like, who is she and how do we get her more work?
For sure.
And she is not stick thin, and she's not what people think of when they think of movies and blah, blah. And I was no, that woman is sexy and interesting and fucking great at her job, man. That is a good actor. She is eating up the screen. The fucking camera loves her. And again, it's that's what I love about movies like Sinners. They will suddenly introduce you to actors that you've never seen before that you're like, okay, I want to know more about that person. And I think a lot of these films are starting to do that now, which is awesome. Yeah.
Let's jump back to one of your films real quick.
Cool.
I don't want to keep you all night. We've had that for a long time. So you did a year of like paying dues with Cunningham, and he brought you into Jason Goes to Hell. How deep?
What happened was I brought a movie with me called Johnny Zombie.
Okay.
And I tried to get that set up, and I tricked Sean into reading it. Sean hated the script but loved the title, so he's going to give me $1.5 million and send me to Connecticut to shoot the movie. And but he wanted to fire the writer who had written it and get another writer on it. And I said, I won't sell it to you. And he was like, are you out of your mind? I said, no, I'm not going to fuck over my buddy. It's not happening. And so I said, bring him out to LA, put the two of us up in the cheapest, shittiest hotel you can put us in, and let us write for 6 weeks. Tell us what you want to do with the script, and we'll do it. And mostly I want to get out of the car. Really excited to get a hotel room. And me and my buddy Dean spent 6 weeks, beating up the script and hanging out and doing this work. And it turned into a script that Sean loved. And we ended up getting that movie set up at Disney. And it was What?
Was that My Boyfriend's Back?
That's it.
All right. Okay.
That's the movie.
Yeah.
So that is my first producing job. I actually produced a movie before I made Jason Goes to Hell. I was the producer of My Boyfriend's Back, one of Philip Seymour Hoffman's first movies.
Yeah,
sort of its claim to fame. The problem is I was going to direct that movie, so I wanted New Line to produce it. They were going to spend a little money on it. He wanted Disney, who was going to spend a shit ton of money on it, and Disney was never going to let a 21-year-old kid take the helm of an $8 million Disney movie. It's never going to happen. So I turned to Sean and I said, "You owe me a movie. I just made you a shit ton of money. Give me a movie." And he said, "All right, man. Paramount's selling Jason Voorhees to New Line, so if you can get that fucking hockey mask out of the movie, I'll let you write and direct it." By the way, when I do my impression of Sean Cunningham, he sounds like the supervillain, the Penguin. That is because Sean Cunningham is the supervillain, the Penguin.
Shit.
So that was the day I started writing the treatment for what would become Jason Goes to Hell. I was 21 when that first happened. 22 when we were in the writing process. 23 when I directed it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like new stuff in the origins. You talked about you got to bring something new, like the whole through a Voorhees he's born, through a Voorhees he has to die type stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you make something like almost like a poem, people tend to remember it.
Yeah.
So that was sort of the idea. And we also have what is one of the best scenes in that movie, which is the finger break scene. Because we had 8 pages of fucking exposition to get out to the audience to get them to understand anything we were doing. And the way we made them remember it was they had to pay for the information along with Stephen Freeman. So if Stephen pays in pain, you remember every word of that. And so we did it that way. And our first test audience, we asked them, what are the rules that you're told by Creighton Duke? And they literally could say the entire scene. And I was like, that is only because we broke that motherfucker's fingers. It's the cheapest effect in the whole movie, and it was the most effective thing we could have done. So, yeah. Through a Voorhees. But, look, it's my Kandarian Dagger Necronomicon. You know, it's Evil Dead. Evil Dead raised me. You know, Sam raised me. And so all things lead to Evil Dead. So, yeah. So there you go.
Does have that. So at that point, Kane was in what, 2 previous?
Yes, Kane had been in 7 and 8.
7, 8, and then 9.
And 9, and then he did X. And he should have been in Freddy versus Jason, and fuck them for not putting him in.
Yeah, most definitely. That was a bummer. I mean, by that point, the fans were gung ho behind him. I know he has like an out of mask cameo in Jason Goes to Hell as one of the security guards and stuff. Now, when he came, was he automatically thought to be Jason at that point? Like
Sean Cunningham came to me and said, Kane's going to play Jason, and I said, yeah, of course he. Yeah. Why wouldn't he? Of course he is. Like, Kane is Jason, so that wasn't even a thing. And Kane was also the stunt coordinator for the entire film. So Kane and I worked together every single day of that show. We were together every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kane is like the older brother that I wanted. He's Kane's amazing. I fucking love that dude. I love that guy. We are constantly together on the road with each other. We do shows and stuff. And I'm knowing Kane is a blessing in my life.
Yeah, I worked with Kane on a film called The Haunting of Alice D.
Oh, nice.
Awesome. Great dude. When you brought up the horror conventions, you know how before prices got really high, which I blame the Walking Dead actors for high prices at conventions. But I remember I first met Kane, I paid $5 for an autograph. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That time is long gone, my friend.
Oh, it could never go back. The tables could never turn back on that.
No.
Yeah.
And look, honestly, and I love Mark Hamill, but fuck you, dude. Like, that's not cool. Like, that's not cool. That's not cool, man. You're talking about people who, yes, should we pay a premium for you? Sure, but not that premium. Like, that's just not okay. It's not okay.
It's a weird deal where then you start to think that these people are exploiting or don't really care about their fans when it gets that high.
I will tell you, the woman who was my road manager, Stacy Lee from C&V Productions or Promotions, excuse me. Stacy is amazing. She's got more Friday 13th people than anybody. She's got like the lock on the Friday 13th community.
Yeah.
And she has set a price for everybody. No one goes over that price, and no one will go over that price.
Yeah.
And that's it. And there are people who think they're worth more. She's like, nope, no. And if you believe that, go to somebody else. But I will not screw the fans. Not happening. And that's really fucking cool. It's just cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, it's a way to be. Look, I understand. Listen, when we have to fly out for this stuff, it's a lot. Like it's a lot. So I'm not gonna say it's like an easy gig. It's not.
Yeah.
And it's exhausting, and you are talking and shaking hands for 12 hours at a time, and that's what you agreed to. So awesome. But there is, for me, it's funny because everybody talks about, you sign your name and people pay you that. I go, yeah, I sign my name. I also spend time with each person who comes to me, and we talk and we hang out, and it's not about the signature. It's about the moment. It's about having that moment with somebody, and spending time. And getting to know that person. And that's the part that I love about it. I really do. Like, I dig just hanging with the fans. I just think it's fucking cool. And because, again, I was them.
Yeah.
I was on that side of the table before I was on this side of the table.
Yeah. You got to make the experience, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, you might deal with, 500, 700 people in a day.
Yep.
But that moment with that person, they're going to have forever. You know what I mean?
That's it. That's what it's about. And look, what I don't understand is the people that are dicks. And there are a lot of those.
I've seen a few. I've seen a few. Yeah.
That is outrageous. That is outrageous.
Yeah.
I have zero tolerance for that. And by the way, Kane Hodder is the perfect, because whenever I'm at one of these things, I'm always right next to Kane.
Yeah.
Kane Hodder is the perfect example of exactly the way to be with the fans.
For sure.
Exactly. And I try to emulate that as much as humanly possible between him and Dick Smith. But I will tell you, what's fun for me is that anyone who gets a signature from me and then because I do a selfie, by the way, never charge for selfies, just make it part of the price of the thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But when I do the selfie, every fucking time, he photobombs.
Yeah.
Every time. I literally tell people, I say, listen, you don't even got to go to his table anymore. You got a picture with him.
Yeah.
He just gave you a free picture. Enjoy.
Yeah, he's a great
dude. Now I've started photobombing his pictures, which he's very funny about. So, yeah, he's amazing. Kane's amazing.
It's such a blessing for people to even care about you in general like that. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So with Kate, when the idea of the Freddy glove coming up to get the mask, like when was that something that you wanted to deal with from the get-go, or is that towards the end?
It happened in the middle of production.
Yeah.
I was hanging out with my two roommates, with Noel Cunningham and with Dean Laurie, who wrote the script with me, and Noel was on the editorial team. And they were getting high to the bejesus. I was laughing at them because they were hilarious. And I was trying to come up with new gags, like any gag I could put in the movie, like other, in-jokes, like the box from Creepshow and the Necronomicon and the dagger and all that stuff. So I kept trying to find like new things I could put in there. And suddenly I was like, wait a minute. Wait. Doesn't New Line own Freddy outright? Like, I think it's 100% theirs. And hang on, Freddy's Dead just came out. It just cut out. I'm like, so they killed Freddy. Oh my God, who better to drag Jason to hell? And I called the two guys, my two executives, Mark Ordesky and Mike DeLuca, over at New Line, got them on the phone. And I said, hey guys, I need the glove and Freddy's laugh. And they were like, what do you need it for? And I told them the end of the movie. These guys lived about 5 miles apart from each other in Los Angeles. You could hear them high five over LA when I said that. And I had the glove the very next day. That was it. It was brought to the set.
Man, because that set up it would be like 10 years later or so.
Oh, I know. I would love to get some of that cheddar.
Yeah. We never thought that was ever going to happen. Like, you see it in the end of Jason Goes to Hell, but we never thought we'd ever see it.
It should have happened the next year, but Wes wanted to make New Nightmare, and that's it, man. That put a wrench in the fucking works, and that was it, huh? Yeah, it was it. It was literally what happened. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Wes comes from that. Didn't Cunningham produce Last House on the Left, right?
He did.
Did they have? You might not know, but like, did they have like a decent relationship going through it?
They did. I've known Wes since I was a little kid.
Yeah,
because Wes was always around. He was Uncle Wes. The thing about Wes is that Wes brought Sean Cunningham Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay.
For him to produce, and Sean thought it was stupid.
Oof.
And said, "Okay, how is this scary? He comes in your dreams. What is that?" I actually did a table read for Wes, and I played the Johnny Depp character.
Okay.
When I was a teenager, because I was an actor, and I thought it was fucking badass. Like, it was. By the way, the thing about Wes's writing, okay, is that the movie is in Wes's head. He doesn't always put it on the page. He wasn't always on the page. Okay, so. His scripts were clunky to read. They weren't quite as magnificent as his directing, because he wrote the script for him to direct. So it translated differently. I still thought it was fucking badass. Sean thought it was dumb. And Wes gave a thank you credit to Sean at the end of Nightmare on Elm Street. It's right there at the end of the movie.
I like that.
Yeah. Yep. No, Wes was a class act. Wes was awesome. In fact, so when I was in my first year at NYU, everybody knew that I had done, that I was a horror guy, and that I knew all these horror filmmakers, right? But of course, you're at film school, so there's a lot of people like, oh, that fucking douchebag. Oh, he knows everybody. Big deal. You know, that kind of shit. And so Wes was coming. This is my freshman year. Wes was coming to show Shocker.
Okay.
And talk about the movie. It hadn't come out yet, so he was showing a pre-screening, and then he was going to talk to the audience about it. And it was my freshman colloquium, so it was everybody in the freshman class, like 140 of us in the class. And they play the movie, and I'm dead center of the theater, right? I'm just sitting there, fifth row center, kind of watching the thing. And I know Wes is coming, and I know Wes. And Wes comes out on stage, and he turns, looks at the eye, and everybody's applauding. He looks at it, he goes, Adam? I was like, hey. He comes off the stage, walks up the thing, and hugs me.
Nice.
So the audience, all these other films are like, holy shit, right? Okay. The biggest fucking target he could have put on my back was put on my back at that moment.
Yeah.
My fucking class hated my ass. Oh my God, they fucking hated me. By the way, you know who was in my class?
Who?
Brett fucking Ratner.
Oh, jeez.
Brett piece of shit Ratner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I was public enemy number one. What was great was that after my first semester of my freshman year, my work, my advisor saw all my work that I'd done before I'd come to NYU. They bumped me into the sophomore class. So I literally skipped an entire year and went into the sophomore class, and I never had to deal with that class again. So I was like, bye-bye.
Yeah.
It was kind of great. Yeah. Brett Ratner did a terrible thing to me at NYU and almost got kicked out of the school for it.
Really?
Yep.
He seems like a bully type dude.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
Well,
may he make Melania the rest of his life.
multiple sequels.
You keep doing that. I'm gonna make documentaries like this. You keep making Melania, buddy.
We'll jump to a good guy. Your brother Kip.
Yeah, my brother.
You know what I mean? Plays with the deputy in it. A big fan of him. And when you talk to him, tell him that he got good praise on the show.
I will, man. He'll love that. He'll love that. Are you kidding? That's fucking awesome, dude.
Happy belated birthday. Happy belated birthday to him.
It's fucking cool, man. That's cool.
You know?
Dig it.
I love when he gets killed in the film. I always thought that looks like ramen noodle.
Doesn't it?
Is that what that is?
No, it's not. We all joke about it. It's actually just it was leftover latex sheets. Okay. And they curl like that if you shred them, so it looks like ramen. You're 100% right. We all joked about it. We all thought it looked like ramen. Yeah. But it is one of Bob Kurtzman's favorite effects he's ever done. Bob loves that moment. He loves when the thing comes out of his neck. He's totally into it.
Was that a K&B official?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, the entire movie.
What's it like working with those guys?
The best.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, there's nothing better. There's nothing better. Bob Kurtzman and I he's a brother to me. He's one of my best friends. We've done every movie together. I won't do a movie without Bob. No, I love Bob. And I was there for when he came up with From Dusk Till Dawn, when Quentin was not Quentin yet, and when Bob bought that script from him for $2,000. And owned the only thing that Quentin wrote that nobody else had their fingerprints on. It's kind of amazing.
Man, that is amazing, yeah.
But no, Bob, look, my relationship with Bob and Howard was incredible, like really incredible. And they were the guys I worked with every day. I worked with Greg a lot. The thing about Greg back then in particular, Greg was the company guy. Greg was the money dude, right? Bob and Howard were the makeup monkeys, right? So I was always with the guys like making shit, right? Greg was the guy who was always pissed at me because I got the guys so excited that they kept going over budget on all my effects. So Greg would be like, Adam, you're not allowed to play with them anymore because they keep going over. I'm like, I don't know. So, Greg cursed me a lot. But Greg's awesome. So no, I love those dudes. They were, I spent more time at K&B than I did in my office. Yeah. They actually made me an official K&B crew member, and they gave me a crew jacket at the end of the film, and which they never give directors. Yeah. So that was like a big fucking deal. Like I was like, wow, like that was really cool. Yeah.
That is cool. You know, K&B legendary. You know, Savini, of course, legendary. I think Greg worked with Savini on what?
Yeah.
Day of the Dead.
Day of the Dead, where Greg was Gut Boy on that movie.
Yeah.
He had to
Yeah.
handle
Iconic.
the meat guts that actually smelled like death because they
Yeah.
actually used meat.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Oh
I
yeah.
remember the scene with Joe Pilato choke on him, and it was just
Yep.
like rotted meat. Yeah,
By the way, Joe Pilato, if you ever get a chance to see the original trailer that Bob Kurtzman directed for From Dusk Till Dawn, Joe Pilato was one of the two brothers.
really.
Yep.
Man, I would love to have seen that played out in Bizarro World. You know what I mean?
He's one of Bob Kurtzman's favorite actors, Joe. So that's why he put him in there. But yeah. Yeah.
I met Joe I met Greg and Joe both at the same time at conventions. Joe's super. He
Nice.
Greg's the only dude from K&B that I ever met. Iconic Studio. When they
Mm-hmm.
disbanded, Greg ended up doing like Walking Dead, I think later.
Well, they never really disbanded. Bob left, but
Okay.
Howard and Greg are still partners to this day. They're still K&B still exists.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause I remember Berger was doing like Chronicles of Narnia last time. I'm sure he's got plenty
But
sense.
he did that for K&B. That was still a K&B show.
Okay.
It just Howard won the Academy Award for it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So because he was the artist on the movie, but it was still K&B.
And Bob directs now, right?
He sure does.
Yeah.
Bob's actually directing a movie for our company right now.
Oh, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's the name? Can you say anything yet?
It's called Hunting Season.
Okay.
And it is a Bigfoot movie, but not your daddy's Bigfoot movie.
I like it. I like it already.
It's a little more like Predator than Bigfoot. So it's
more realistic. Yeah.
Yeah. It's fucking
cool. So when Jason Goes to Hell came out, I guess my first question is how was it received? And then I'm curious of like the atmosphere because that was right in the midst of the VHS boom, the home rental store, like something that filmmakers don't really understand now. But what was like the impact of home video and stuff like that?
So when the film first came out, it's funny because it's this very divisive movie among the Friday 13th fandom. I went to theater after theater after theater to see the movie for the 6 weeks it was in theaters, and every theater I went to, every time the movie ended, there was applause and people jumping out of their seats. The minute they saw Freddy's glove,
yeah,
so there was this. And by the way, every kill, everything that happened in the movie, people screaming and jumping up, and all the good shit that happens in a horror movie. So my impression of the audience was really good. Like I had a great experience with the audience. They were fucking awesome, and they were really digging the movie. Then when home video came out, if you remember, it was the only movie that had ever been released up to that point in a director's cut and the theatrical cut at the same time. Okay? There are other movies that had done different editions, but not at the same time. It was the single biggest VHS release that New Line had ever done. So it made so much money. I mean, it was nuts. It was nuts.
It was beautiful. It was a beautiful VHS too with the raised silver.
The raised cover.
Beautiful. I still got it. Yeah.
Do you know there were even some collector's covers out there where if you pressed on a part of the box, the eyes and the demon lit up?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yep. So, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Also, it did really well on Laserdisc too. I have a copy of that in my library. And so we had a lot of love. It wasn't until many years later when the internet happened and then YouTube happened. And there was this guy who I've referred to as the douche nozzle for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Who made a video called How New Line Destroyed the Friday 13th franchise. And that clip went viral. And suddenly a wave of hate came at me that was like, what the fuck, guys? Like, it was bad. It was bad.
Yeah.
And it got me to a point where I was like, I don't want to talk about Jason Goes to Hell anymore. I don't need to get beat up by people. Fuck this. Like, stop, And look, I totally understand somebody going, I don't want to see body hopping in a Jason movie. I got it. Cool. Like, if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. It's not your bag. This idea that Jason's not in it is bullshit. It's not true. Jason's in the fucking movie the whole way through. For people who go, there's not the hockey mask. Well, the first movie is his mom. And the second movie, he's wearing a sack. And in the fifth movie, it's not Jason. And in X, who knows what the fuck he's wearing every given
Right.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
So what are you bitching about, whiny little baby?
Yeah.
So it's like you want the same movie, even though you keep telling everybody you don't want the same movie. And look, the movies have been making less and less and less money. So we went from 6 being a resurgence, and Tommy's movie is my favorite of the franchise.
Great one.
And then 7 makes less, and 8 makes nothing, and that's why Paramount gets rid of it. Paramount, the only reason Paramount kept that series because of the money. They hated the movies. They were embarrassed.
Right.
So the minute it stopped making money, they said bye-bye. So now I'm handed a franchise that just got its ass kicked on the last run. And everybody is saying you got to do something different. It's got to be different. Sean Cunningham is saying get the fucking hockey mask out of the movie because Sean, people forget, he only made the first movie. That's all Sean made.
Yeah.
And then his directing student, this kid who was me 20 years before I was me.
Steve Miner.
Exactly. Steve Miner, who was an apprentice editor on Last House on the Left, suddenly he gives the reins to him because Sean didn't want to direct the movie. You know why? Because when Sean was approached by Paramount, they said, we want to do part 2. And he was like, great. I never saw an idea that John Carpenter had that I wouldn't steal. He said, I want to do Tales of the Unluckiest Day of the Year. The same way John Carpenter wanted to do Tales of Halloween.
Yeah.
Right? Which is why the only actual sequel to the first Halloween is Halloween 3. That's what John Carpenter wanted to do. He wanted to tell Tales of Halloween, not Michael Myers movies.
Right.
Well, when you get to Friday 13th, Sean was like, great, we'll tell a different story on Friday 13th. They went, nah, we'd rather it was about that Jason kid. And Sean was like, what? The kid who died in the 50s? The what? They're like, yeah, the one who jumps up from the lake. He says, he didn't jump up. That's a dream. I was ripping off Carrie. What are you talking about? That's not a person. That's not a thing. They said, well, we'd like to make it a thing. And Sean said, bye. And he left. And he got paid for every movie that got made, and he had nothing to do with them. Well, here's the problem, guys. Cut to 1990, Sean couldn't get anything made except for Friday 13th movies.
Yeah.
And Sean was pissed. And by the way, when they put the sack on Jason's head in part 2, Sean's response was, oh, look, Elephant Man, the slasher.
Oh, jeez.
Okay? Then, when they showed him the mask for part 3, quote unquote from Sean, and I thought the potato sack was stupid. He hated the mask. Thought the mask was idiotic. Okay? Now, the only kind of movies Sean can make are movies about a guy in a hockey mask. Sean didn't make a movie about a guy in a hockey mask. Sean made a movie about a mother who lost her child and was murdering teenagers because they let her kid drown. And suddenly, all he can make is movies about a guy in a hockey mask. Sean hated that fucking mask. Hated it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he told me to get the hockey mask out of the movie, and I went, okay, boss. I guess I gotta figure that out. Now, for me, I was like, fuck, man, I love the mask, and I love Jason, and god damn it. But you do what you're told, man. I'm a young guy. I was wanting to make my movie. So I went, okay, let's fix the Friday 13th timeline. Let's fix it. Because the timeline is stupid. Because at the end of part 1, you got an 11-year-old kid who jumps out of that lake and drags Alice down. You know how I know he's 11 years old? Because I went to school with Ari Lehman. He was 11 years old.
Yeah.
Okay? So here's an 11-year-old pulling Alice down. I go, okay, that's cool. So how is it that 2 weeks later, he's 150 pounds heavier, has fully fitted clothes, has a driver's license, or has at least learned how to drive, because I don't think he walked through Crystal Lake holding mom's head in a basket.
Yeah.
With his face all fucked up, or a sack on his head. He's also learned to read, because the only way that you could find out where somebody lived was going to the white pages.
Right.
Or you made a call to information. So this 11-year-old hydrocephalic-headed, handy-capable kid has suddenly gotten a lot of fucking magical powers all of a sudden. So I said, well, if Pamela would do anything to have her Jason back, anything, wouldn't she turn to the devil? Wouldn't she turn to the dark arts?
Mm.
And maybe she read from the Necronomicon. And suddenly her Jason came back. Now, by the way, for the people who are like Deadite aficionados, holy crap. He doesn't have to be a Deadite. He could be a Revenant. He could be a number of different things that are in the Book of the Dead, for the love of God. So he is resurrected. Now imagine you're this 11-year-old kid who drowned in that lake. And you awaken under the lake. And 30 years of sediment is now landed on you. And you're cold and terrified. And you can barely see anything because of the murkiness of the lake. And one of the first images you see is your mother's head being cut off by a young woman. Well, that would get me to rise up to the surface and pull that woman down. But again, he's an 11-year-old kid. He doesn't have all that strength. He's just pulling the girl down. So she gets away from him and survives. Great. But if he has been resurrected by the Necronomicon, I believe him getting 150 pounds of body weight real quick. I believe him knowing how to do things that no one ever taught that kid. I believe anything because now he is the devil's assassin. Great. Well, if you're the devil's assassin, then there is something in you that is not that 11-year-old kid. There's something else. And that is the evil, the engine that is making that body roar. By the way, by part 4, Corey Feldman turns his head into hamburger meat. Yeah. By part 6, he's resurrected a la Frankenstein's monster. By part 7, he's fighting Carrie. By part 8, he takes a boat ride. Yeah, and we get to my movie. I'm like, okay, this guy has been torn to shreds. He's a zombie. He's this, that, and the other thing. The only way I buy it is evil magic that his mom did at the beginning of this series. So Jason Goes to Hell is ostensibly the Rogue One of the Friday the 13th franchise. Yeah. We describe how Luke was able to shoot that shot into a 3-meter hole in the Death Star, and that blew up the whole fucking place. Yeah. We're that movie. Yeah. That's us. Here's what happens. The movie has a wave of hate, and then, over time, there's this band of people that always loved the movie but didn't want to talk. They were afraid of those sort of bro dudes who hated, more mask. Where's the law? There's not enough campers and tits. Yeah. That quiet group under the surface starts getting noisier and starts talking about the movie more and more and gets more excited about the film. Now, by the way, at this point, my follow-up to Jason Goes to Hell was a romantic comedy that was a Sundance hit. Okay? Yeah. So I'm off doing my life and making a lot of other shit. I wrote for literally every studio in town. I sold 5 different television shows inside of a year and a half right after I did Let It Snow. I'm being a filmmaker. I'm having my career. This groundswell is happening underneath it, and I'm not paying attention to any of that. I'm really not. I'm kind of doing my thing. So I suddenly have these 2 guys who are hounding me to make a documentary. And I didn't want to do it. I'd been asked for years to make a doc, and I didn't want to do it. And in 2019, these 2 same guys, TJ Bowser and Corey Kaufman, they come to me and they're like, hey, they said, we made a surprise for you for your birthday. So on July 24th, 2019, they had made a Facebook page called Jason Goes to Hell, the Final Fan Page. And I thought, aw, that's really sweet. What a nice thing. Thanks, guys. You're adorable. And I thought it'd be like 6-10 guys just talking about Jason Goes to Hell by themselves. Within a week, it had over 1,000 people on it. Within 2, it had 5,000 people on it. I was like, what the fuck is happening? What was happening was Corey and TJ were snookering me into making a documentary because suddenly they start talking about a doc to all of these people, and all of these people start going, we want a doc. And I'm like, fuck, I am such a dumbass. So I say, okay, y'all want a doc? Fine. I'll make it. My company will make the movie. We'll take care of it. I'm not paying for it. I will not let my company pay for it. You want it? You pay for it. And I'll do it. So we put up an Indiegogo page. And it gets funded in record time. And I'm like, fuck, now I gotta go make this thing. Oh, shit. Yeah. I have spent the last 6 years making this movie. Oh my God. I've never spent so long making a movie. Never. Pandemic and legal issues and all of it. am so insanely proud of the movie we made. Like, I am so crazy proud of this movie. Michael Felsher, who's an absolutely wonderful director, a sensitive, beautiful guy. By the way, if he heard me saying any of this, he would be throwing up immediately. But he's adorable and amazing, and I fucking love the guy, and I will work with him the rest of my life. My best friend Eric Beetner came in to edit the movie. He was a brilliant editor. Between the two of them, they have crafted something that is just funny and smart and charming. And it's about Jason Goes to Hell, sure. But it's really about filmmaking, and it's really about like independent spirit of filmmaking. And so for me, I think it's one of those wonderful films that if you show it to film students, like, I think it's the perfect audience for it, because it is that, like, no, dream it, man, and you can do it. You can do it.
Yeah.
But you gotta stick to it, and you gotta put up with a lot of shit, and you gotta fight a lot of battles, but you can do it.
Yeah.
And you know, so we made this movie, and then when we went out with it last year to festivals and whatnot, suddenly it started winning awards for Best Picture, Best Documentary. I was like, what is happening? And we just got nominated for the Rondo for Best Documentary of the Year, which is insane. Like, I'm like, who put it up? Like, I'm shocked. So in making this thing, look, I always said we're going to have a feature documentary, because we had enough. We shot almost 100 hours of footage, and we had enough to make, you know, a Crystal Lake Memories. Like, we could have made a 5-hour documentary.
Yeah.
But I said no. Like, stop.
Yeah.
I said it's got to be a feature-length documentary. I want it to be able to go to festivals. I want people to enjoy it in that bite. I said, but because I am all about physical media, we will have a disc that, has the feature, and then has that other 3.5 to 4 hours of material on there. And that's the disc that's out there right now. That's what Synapse and Redshirt are putting out, is this disc, this double disc set that, by the way, isn't just the double disc. So, okay, so I have one here. I have one.
Hell yeah.
So, this is the movie.
That's beautiful artwork, too. Who
Right?
did that? Yeah.
Mark Schoenbach, who Michael Felsher hired for this. Mark is incredible. If you don't know his work, you do know his work, actually. You know he's done 1 million posters.
Yeah.
He's brilliant. So Michael came up with this idea, didn't tell me he was doing it. This is before Synapse was even involved.
Yeah.
And we were going out to festivals, and we didn't have a poster. We had a mock-up that I wasn't crazy about. And we had an original poster that was badass, but it didn't fit the movie. It didn't fit what the movie was anymore. So we're like, what are we going to do about a poster? And I was in Ecuador visiting my mom. My mom lives down in Ecuador, and I was visiting her. And Michael calls me up, and he's like, hey, you got to get on Zoom with me. I was like, Zoom? Why don't you just FaceTime me? He's like, I need Zoom. Okay, Michael, I'll get on Zoom. Shit. We were going out to dinner. I was like, hey, everybody, hang on. I gotta talk to Michael. So I get on my computer. I get him on Zoom. He says, let me share I gotta share your screen. I said, okay. And suddenly he pops up that image. And I was like, holy shit. What did you do? He's like, yeah, I got Mark Schoenbach to do. I'm like, no shit, you got Mark Schoenbach. That's amazing. By the way, this is the back of the poster.
That's a great line. The Duke, one of the best lines from the Duke, dude.
So, okay, so here's the thing. So here's the case here, right?
Yeah.
And this is like as sturdy as you fucking get. By the way, there's the original poster image.
Oh yeah.
Right? Okay. So there's that. So then you get into the nitty gritty of the actual disc itself, and then all the stuff with special features and whatnot. So this, you can have that, or you can have that. So we have both pieces of artwork on there. So you can do that, right?
I love that.
And then you've got the double disc set, which you got the double disc set, right? So you got the feature film over here, and then you got the extras disc here, right? So we're talking almost 6 hours of stuff, right? You got the Synapse catalog. Very nice catalog. But this is my favorite part. and this is the thing that Michael talked me into. So I don't know if you guys, well, you follow me on Facebook. So
Yeah.
I do a tremendous amount of portraiture and artwork. I'm a physical artist as well.
It's great. I know I don't want to keep you all night, but the artwork is fantastic. Yeah.
Thank you, dude. Thank you. So I did 6 portraits for the piece.
Rusty.
So there's Rusty. There's Rusty Fur. And on the back of each one of the cards is a story that's not covered on any of the material in here. So it's 6 different portraits and 6 different stories that are not talked about. And so you've got a portrait of Rusty, you got a portrait of Kip when he gets his head cut off.
Yeah.
You've got a portrait of Kane as Jason. You've got Leslie Jordan, who we dedicated the film to. You've got Stephen Williams as Creighton Duke. And you've got the moment when Robert is kissing Jessica and transferring the evil.
Yeah.
And so you've got all of those, and each one with a different story involved in it. So 6 original pieces of art and the stories. And so like that's the package we put together. Like that's what we tried to accomplish with this thing. And look, I know that people waited a long fucking time for this thing, Jesus, me included. But what's been amazing is everybody who's gotten the thing has immediately like reached out and been like, dude, worth the wait. Happy we waited. We delivered something that's special. I'm really proud of it, man. I really am. I'm as proud of it as anything that I've written and directed. So that's been amazing. And it is bringing physical media into the forefront because I'm on a tour where all I talk about is physical media and getting back to that. The VHS is out as well. The VHS only has the movie, but it does have intros with me. I did an intro for the VHS. Yeah, so Jason Goes to Hell, it never seems to want to leave my life.
Doesn't die like Jason,
Yeah,
Jason never dies.
I love the movie. Like I'm proud of that movie. To this day, I'm proud of that. By the way, I was at Crystal Lake Nightmares, the convention in LA. This was just last year. And I was Adam Green, who's a very good friend of mine. You guys know Adam, right?
Oh yeah.
So Adam Green was on stage. He requested that he do the Jason Goes to Hell panel because we had 13 people from Jason Goes to Hell at that convention. It's the largest group we've ever put together. John LeMay, Kerry Keegan, Kane, Robert Kurtzman, like everybody was there. And even baby Stephanie was there. And so we have this full dais of people, on stage. And Adam was doing the Q&A with us. And I brought up the story about the douche nozzle. And about the video that happened on YouTube. And everybody's laughing. And it's a good story. And it gets a lot of laughs. And the next morning, I'm at my booth. This was on Sunday, and I'm signing stuff. And a guy comes up to my table, and I said, "Oh, so what, which one?" He goes, "Oh, I'll take one of the posters, the little mini posters." I said, "Great." So I pull it over. I start signing it. I said, "So who do I make it out to?" And he goes, "The douche nozzle." And my wife is sitting next to me, and she just went.
Yeah.
I was like, seriously? He's like, yeah, man. I was like, uh-huh. And Deb is like, oh my God, my husband's going to get arrested today. He's going to beat the shit out of this guy. And I'm looking at the guy, and he said, I was at your panel yesterday. And I had heard over the years that you refer to me as the douche nozzle. I was like, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
He said, and so I'm listening to you, and I was like, fuck, this guy seems like he's a great dude. Fuck. So I went home, and I pulled out my copy of Jason Goes to Hell. I said, oh, you got a copy, do you? I said, I bet you got 4 of them. He goes, yeah. I said, right. He said, so I put it on. I hadn't watched it in over a decade. And I just went, what the fuck is wrong with me, man? This is a good movie. What was I upset about? And I really liked it. And I just wanted to come to your table and tell you I was just fucking wrong. I was just wrong, man. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, I just wanted to apologize. You made a good movie. I was in a terrible place at that time. And I just need to take it out on somebody, and I took it out on your movie. I got up from the table, and again, Deborah is still like, does not know whether I'm going to lay this guy out.
Yeah.
And I walked around the table, and I hugged him.
Beautiful.
And I said, dude, I said, if you are willing to say you're sorry for that after all this time, if you're willing to come here and be man enough to say you're sorry, you are proof positive there's hope in this world, that we can actually all be better to each other. I was like, that's fucking cool, dude.
That is cool.
So I said, all right, so what's your name? What do you want? And he goes, oh, no, I want it made to the douche nozzle. I was like, awesome choice. So he has that. And if you go on my Instagram and just scroll down to this time last year, I think it's August last year, you will see a picture of me with the douche nozzle. And he's holding the poster, and I'm like this next to it. And it was pretty amazing. Here's what was so funny. A week later, I don't know, do you guys listen to the movie Crypt? That
Adam Green's.
Yeah.
So Adam and Joe were doing the next episode. They were on the next episode, and they were talking about Crystal Lake Nightmares that had just happened, blah blah. And Adam was like, "Wait a minute, I got to tell you this story." Now I had not talked to Adam since I'd seen him at the panel. He tells the story I just told you. And he's like, this was all over the convention that this happened. This was like the big news that this had happened. And Adam starts getting all choked up. And it's like, isn't it amazing that like Marcus didn't deck the guy, but that he gave him a hug and that the guy said he was sorry? And I was like, how fucking cool is it that this story is actually getting some play? That people, because again, it's like that rare moment of people being decent to each other and making amends and doing the right thing. And I didn't act like a dick. I was like, yeah, good on you, brother. Give me a hug. So that, for me, closed a lot of the hatred of Jason Goes to Hell. I know there's people out there that still hate it, and that's cool. By the way, I'm fine with people hating the movie. When people come to me and wish me ass cancer, which happens a lot, it's really true. I now deal with, and by the way, I've never yelled at people. I don't get crazy. I just don't do it. But I'm like, okay, listen, stop. Okay, you want me to get cancer. Got it. Because I made a movie in 1993 that didn't have enough Jason mask in it. That didn't have enough Rocky mask. Okay, listen, that's fine. You don't like the movie. Great. Who hurt you?
Exactly.
Like, talk to me, because this isn't about my movie. It's just not, man. Who the fuck hurt you? Like, who touched you in your no-no place that you're this angry at me about this movie? What's incredible, the number of people that now I call friends who have talked to me, who actually were like, my dad always beat me up with it. I'm like, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go, man. This has nothing to do with Jason Goes to Hell, brother. And I'm never asking them to like the movie. That's not the point. The point is, you're in pain and you need to get it out on something. Wouldn't it be better if you were just productive with that pain and like talked about it and like had a friend that would listen? I'll listen to you. I'll listen. I'm okay. I'm cool. Let's do that. It is amazing how many fans I have that started out as people who fucking hated Jason Goes to Hell. And over the years, they went, I saw them. I heard them. You know?
Yeah.
And that's, I think that the overreaction to a lot of things in our culture is simple. People are hurt. They're just hurting.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And you just got to go, what hurt you, buddy? That's it. So, yeah. So Jason Goes to Hell's made a nice comeback. And it's getting reassessed, and people are really digging the movie. And people who've never seen it before, I had a few people in at London Fright Fest, where the movie premiered, world premiere, who came up to me afterwards like, I love the documentary. I have to go watch the movie now. And they've never seen Jason Goes to Hell, and they watched it and wrote me letters and were like, this movie's incredible. I don't know why this wasn't a bigger thing. Why didn't I know about, so it's nice. It's nice. Look, it's a cool movie. It doesn't change the fucking world. It's just a really fun piece of entertainment. It's got the best kills of the series. It's got the best acting in the series. It just does.
Yeah.
Even if you don't like the movie, you have to give it what it deserves. K&B knocked it out of the fucking park. The tent kill is easily one of the 3 best kills in the franchise. And, It's got a lot of boobies. It's got as much male nudity as female nudity, so there's nudity for everybody.
For everybody, yeah.
The Whitman sampler of nudity, and it's got a good sense of humor.
Yeah. I say like horror fans are the most passionate about their genre. It's a blessing and a curse sometimes because
Yep.
it's hard when you deal with a character so beloved like that. It's almost like making a Superman movie. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
That people just they love him so much, and you go off the you leave the comic book. We'll say a little bit. People get rip shit. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep. Look, dude, and again, it's the greatness of being the most divisive film in the franchise. Oh God, when people say that shit. Here's what's great. People are still talking about it.
Yeah.
I made that movie 33 years ago. People are still talking about it. The night that Jason Goes to Hell came out, I did not go see Jason Goes to Hell because I'd seen it so many fucking times that week. I was like, I cannot sit in another theater. Yeah. So I paid to see Jason Goes to Hell, but I walked into the movie searching for Bobby Fischer because I wanted to see that movie. And I walk into Searching for Bobby Fischer, which is a fucking beautiful, tiny, soft-spoken masterpiece. Steve Zalian, who won the Academy Award that year for Schindler's List for writing the screenplay. Steve Zalian does a beautiful job of writing and directing. That film was his first feature as director. It's an incredibly well-made movie with Sir Ben Kingsley and Joe Mantegna and Joan Allen. It's just a beautiful film. You ever seen a Searching for Bobby Fischer convention?
No.
Right. Me saying that title, have you heard that title in the last 20 years? Probably not.
Not in a long
Probably
time.
Not.
Yeah.
And it's an incredible movie. Came out the same night.
Yeah.
And nobody knows it exists.
I probably only know.
People still talk about Jason Goes to Hell.
That's the thing. I only know because I have the same last name. You know what I mean? Chess player, right?
That I do get. Absolutely right.
He's a chess player, right?
He is.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful movie. Yeah, I love Jason Goes to Hell. It's here to stay. I'm glad to see that people are. I think they were hard on it because they were. Yeah. It left the path a little bit, but it's still a great movie. And I think as horror people mature with life, they look back at things. Same thing with like Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. People love that movie now. When it first came out, people were like, "What the fuck is this?" You know what I mean? Yeah.
So, look, the greatness of it is it put me in the horror genre where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
And I keep coming back to it. I made Secret Santa a few years ago, which is my favorite film of the films I've made. It's my personal favorite.
That's a great film too.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. And I made that movie for nothing. I mean, that movie. You can't buy a car for what I made that movie for.
For sure, yeah.
And it is a union movie. It's still SAG. It's still Writers Guild. I play by the rules, man. I do right by people. But it is a tiny little movie, and that movie is known all over the world, and it came from nothing. And I didn't have a studio behind me. I was the studio. And this coming year, Skeleton Crew is poised to make 3 new films, all tiny budget movies. And then there's one big budget film that I'm being courted for to direct right now. From a screenplay I didn't write, which is very rare. I usually write what I direct. But I've got a movie, a psychological horror movie. It is a horror movie. It's a fucking scary movie that I'm doing next. That's the very next one I'm doing, and it's a tiny movie, really small cast, and we're doing a whole new technical thing with it. It's going to be kind of crazy, and so I'm doing that one next. That one is called Safe With Me. Then the next one after that is called How to Survive a Game Night, and it is a Knives Out style murder mystery. About a bunch of people who all are in a game night, and someone in the game night is murdered, and everybody is invited a year after that murder. They're all invited back for another game night, but the game is a murder mystery board game, Clue-like, that was created by the person who was murdered to find out who killed them.
I dig that.
The 11 people around the table are the 11 suspects, and whoever can figure out who did it gets $2 million. And the person who did it gets to go to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $100, $200. Go directly to jail. So that is the other film that I'm directing this year out of the Skeleton Crew movies, and then I've got another little movie that we're dealing with right now that I can't talk about just yet. But yeah, dude, we're cooking. Like, and I got to tell you, this movie, the doc right behind me, it exploded things. It really did. Like,
Yes.
Suddenly we're just making a lot of shit. So it's exciting. It's an exciting time.
I'm super happy to hear this, man. You deserve it. You know what I mean? And
Thank
I'm
you, brother.
glad you're
Appreciate it.
staying busy and like it seems like things are like booming almost better than they ever have been. You know what I
They
mean?
are. They
Great
are.
shit.
And I will tell you, and look, I wrote for the studios for a long time. My wife and I, we've written over 100 screenplays. And the thing that most people don't know, like when you look at an IMDb page, you don't see the scripts that got sold that never got made.
Right.
And that's a writer's life. Like when you're a writer in Hollywood, you write a ton of movies that don't get made.
Yeah.
I have scripts on every shelf in Hollywood. That's your life. The problem is when you write for the studios, you make really good money. It's great. It's great.
Yeah.
You don't write anything you want to write.
Right.
And even the stuff you sell that's the original gets turned into something that you're like, that's not what I wanted to fucking make. What the fuck is this now? What's great about Skeleton Crew, my company, what we're doing, is we support new filmmakers, young filmmakers, and it's about, yeah, you get 2 bologna sandwiches and a ball of twine, but you get to make the movie you want to make. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
And that to me is more important than anything. Because again, anybody who gets in this to get rich, big mistake. Get in this to make art. Get in this to tell your story. Get in this to move people and to change the world a little bit. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Night of the Living Dead, tiny little movie, probably the most powerful statement ever made about the Vietnam conflict and the civil rights movement. And it's a fucking zombie movie. A tiny little zombie movie. It had more to say than any other film that came after it. That's what you can do.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Fuck yeah. Well, Adam, this was a pleasure, man, dude.
Guys, this was really fun.
We had
Really
you on
fun.
ours. Would love to have you on again sometime. You know what I mean? To talk
Absolutely.
about the new flicks coming, and we appreciate your time, man, and stories.
Appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome.
Appreciate you. Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Adam Marcus. That was super fucking cool. Gave us like 3 hours of his time. My goodness. It was cool learning a lot about him. I knew a good amount about Adam, just being a fan of Jason Goes to Hell. And whenever I'm a fan of somebody and there's an opportunity to kind of link up with them on the social media, I try to do it just to kind of get into their life, their lifestyle, get to know them a little bit, keep up with the new things going on. And we're looking for BoomBastiCAST guests, man. We say, who do I know on my list that I'm a fan of that I think would have a lot of cool stuff to say? And I usually wait for something to kind of happen, because from what I've gathered with reaching out to people, most of the time they want to kind of speak when they got a new project out or whatever, you know what I mean? So I kind of waited until Hearts of Darkness, the making of the Final Friday, got released. And I know it's been a big buzz deal in the horror world. A lot of people loving it, saying a lot of good things. And I knew the time for Adam Marcus date with the BoomBastiCAST was here. So it was great to have him on. Learned a lot of stuff. Great storyteller, man. I feel like he's just rolling around the business like that, dude. I bet he's got stories for days that we didn't even get into. And super nice dude, super smart guy. And I really enjoyed this conversation with him. Learned a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm looking forward to rewatching and future episodes with Mr. Marcus. What do you think?
Well, I have to say, I mean, I didn't know much about him other than, of course, he directed,
Jason Goes to Hell.
It was Hell.
Friday.
And I gotta say, it was so great listening to him because, again, I mean, I know that Matt and I have said this millions upon millions of times on this podcast, other podcasts, where we talk to directors that don't seem to like film, Okay, there's a lot of directors that
I think
seem.
we've worked with more directors that don't like films than we've interviewed directors.
Oh yeah, I mean, what I'm talking about is
Yeah,
I'm not talking about what the people we've interviewed on the show. I'm talking
yeah,
about like, you sit down, you watch a lot of these films coming out of Hollywood,
yeah,
and a lot of times I'm watching it and it's paint by numbers. They
for
are not
sure.
trying to be artistic. They're trying to crank out as much as they can to make as much money as they can. And it doesn't look like they even like making movies. It feels like I'm, watching someone who's treating movies like I feel like when I look at my boring 9 to 5 job.
Yeah,
Okay. I mean, I'm there to make money and to do my job and do a good job, I believe, and then, go home. But I don't live and dream my job. It's what I need to sustain life.
for sure.
And there's a lot of directors, I think, that are out there that the entire thing is like, well, I want to make money and I'm going to grab something that's already popular and I'm going to try to, use that to push my brand so I can make more money,
Yeah,
but you don't feel real passion behind it. It
right.
feels like it's just, well, I'm showing up for work, I'm getting paid, I'm going home. Like as we talked in the show, it's like Marlon Brando. Okay.
Your boy Marlon B. Marlon
Marlon
B.
B, he's not going to learn the lines. He doesn't give a fuck. He's going to come there. He's going to have fucking Duval, Mr. Duval, stand there with a cue card on
Rest in
his
peace.
chest because he's fucking Marlon Brando and he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. Well, Marlon B. Marlon B.
Marlon B.
That last tango in paradise or Paris.
Yeah, Last Tango in Paris.
Paradise for some, not for others. You know what I'm saying? Who directed that? Bertolucci was it?
It,
Bernardo Bertucci. It was one of those Italian dudes.
yeah, it was a notable actor. And first of all,
No, the
I
director.
watched the movie, and first of all, it's kind of like, my God, I have never seen such a pretentious piece of shit.
Yeah, no, I know. You've told me it numerous times.
I'm sorry. I mean, the thing is, I feel so sorry for the woman in
Oh
there. I
yeah,
mean,
horrifying.
she was the best part. You watch the movie for her. Fuck Brando. Brando was mumbling through his lines like he always did. He has no charisma. He's, I mean, yeah. I mean, he
You
had
feel
no
bad.
charisma in fucking um, uh, uh, Island of Dr. Moreau.
Well, the thing to feel bad for is supposedly he like the sex scene like was like he like just took
Yeah, yeah. Well, the thing is that
butter or something. I don't know. I'm not
yeah, I mean,
speaking
the
out of
thing
school
is,
or
from
anything, but
from what I keep on reading is that they did not. They told her only enough, okay, but not exactly what's going to happen because they're like, oh, I really want to have the look of humiliation on her face while he does that. Okay, I got fucking news for you. Okay, she's an actress. She can pretend to be humiliated. You don't have to actually fucking do it.
well, I was wondering what the deal, what the directors, if it was something that Brando just did, or if and they just kept rolling, or if it's
No,
something
no.
him
From
and the
what I heard,
director.
it was the director and Brando both saying, "Well, we should do this, and to be method, we have to, do this so we can get the right
Methodical
visual
madness.
response."
Yeah, it's all disgusting behavior.
Yeah, which is like, no, no, no. Okay, I mean, fuck that shit. Okay, I mean, that kind of stuff always pisses me off when people use, you know, uh,
Um,
the art of acting, the art of making films as an excuse so they can live out their own depraved fantasies.
well, you had that bad experience on that John Wayne Gacy movie where you bent over to get the handcuffs and you got the butter up your
I got the rubber nose up the ass. Yeah, yeah.
you'd be a good Gacy.
Hey, I think I'd be good anything.
You'd be great at anything you do. You know what I mean? I hope that that you and the Adam Marcus deal work out. I'd love to see Hawkman in
It would be
Marcus
nice,
film.
but I mean, we will see. I am not. Rule number one: I don't expect anything because if something happens, that's great. If something doesn't, that's
That's
fine.
great too.
Never expect anything. Put yourself out
Expect
there. Hope for the best.
expect the unexpected though at the same time, they say.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's a little late in the Boombastic offices. You know what I mean? We're gonna wrap this up. This was super cool. It was great having Adam on the show. Like I said, we went for hours and just no disappointment. It was just bringing the heat with the interview, talking about a whole bunch of stuff. And it was just really cool, man. You know, he's an independent dude at heart. You know how much I love to talk to these independent filmmakers that have made films that, like, I don't consider Friday, you know, fucking Jason Goes to Hell, Friday, the Final Friday, like an independent film. When I think of independent, I think of like smaller films. This film was because when I watched it, it was just I was a huge fan of the franchise. I loved it. I thought it was great. I liked the twist that it took. The fact that he didn't have the mask. I mean, it was new, but I guess I was like open-minded enough not to be bothered by stuff like that. You know what I mean? But yeah, dude, like that was like a big film. Like for me, that was a big film, but I think it's just because I'm a fan. Um, and hell yeah,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of it was a lot of fun, Doogie. You know what I mean? The Val Kilmer deal. I did remember somebody told us a story about Val Kilmer that involved shitting the bed, like, and so the PA had
Yeah. I forget who it was that mentioned it,
a
but yeah.
PA had to carry shitty sheets out of hotel rooms. That's all I remember. It was horrifying stuff.
Yeah, it seems that while Val Kilmer and Marlon Brando had their, stand-up war on Island Dr. Moreau, both of them seem to have the same fascination with playing with their own shit. I mean, I've heard
Guys
both of
got to have fun. Guys got to have fun. You know what I'm saying?
I understand, but I mean, if it's in your own room and you're not bothering anyone, that's a different story. When you go into hotel rooms and you're leaving it for poor, housekeeping staff, that's just fucking sick.
Yeah, that's bad news. Well, the PA actually had to go and collect it before the housekeeping staff got to it.
Still, I'm sorry for the poor PA.
It's bad news. They had to grab it before if the housekeeping staff, from what I hear, the housekeeping staff already dealt with it once, and if they had to deal with it again, he was being removed from the hotel. That's what I gathered. Secret Santa, very fun, cool horror flick. It's on Amazon right now, if I remember correctly. So go peep it, you know. Go give Adam support too. I'm excited to hear about the new flicks. I know Bobby Kurtzman, I'm gonna call him Bobby Kurtzman. I feel we're close now. Is directing a film under the banner, you know what I mean? Under the Skeleton Crew banner, which is very cool. And maybe you'll see some Boombastic folks over at the Skeleton Crew part of it. I mean, I got the Stephen King book right there. You know what I mean? I twist it. I twist it. You see that?
Yeah.
You see that? Skeleton Crew. That's how we do.
Heck
You know what I
yeah.
mean? But yeah, it was very cool having Adam on the show. And we hope everybody enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. And go support. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, we'll catch y'all on the next episode of the BoomBastiCAST.
Peace.
Peace.